It's time for Intelligent Machines. I'm Leo Laporte. Jeff Jarvis is here. Paris Martineau. Our guests, Ethan Sutton and Marie de Lourdes Zoyo, created this little thing I wear on my wrist, the Bee.Computer. They'll explain how a personal agent on your wrist can change everything. Plus all the AI news coming up next on Intelligent Machines.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines, episode 807, recorded February 19th, 2025. My Life in Tokens. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover artificial intelligence, robotics, and even those little devices you have sprinkled around your house that just seem to turn on the thermostat at random hours of the day or night. Joining me right now, Paris Martineau from The Information. Hi, Paris.
Hello, hello. Welcome back from your rock concert.
Yes, thank you for filling in for me while I was gone. I really appreciate it. Also here, Jeff Jarvis. He is
hello.
Emeritus Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism. I tried to get past the song.
Newmark. You tried to speed through it. We're not going to let you do it.
I thought if I said it fast enough, Benito wouldn't push the button. And soon, now I guess a professor at Mount Clair State University and SUNY Stony Brook. Yep. Oh, the Montclair thing fell through?
He's a fellow. No, I'm a fellow.
Oh, you're a fella. Okay.
I'm a fella.
He's a fella.
I'm a professor.
If it's at Montclair, New Jersey, it's probably a fella.
Fella. Yeah.
Fella. Hey, we have a great guest on the show today. You've seen me many, many times talking about this silly little bracelet. I don't have to wear it. It's actually holding the Bee module, which I'll pop out of the bracelet. You can wear it. Whoops. Well,
that's it. Break the guest's big gadget before they even
before you even introduce them.
I threw it in the air. So you can wear it around your neck as a pendant. You can wear it as a clip-on. I like to wear it as a bracelet. It's always with me. Plus, it fools people because it looks like it's a Fitbit or something, some sort of fitness thing. What is it really? It is a set of microphones, very good microphones, attached to a device that then streams to my phone and then sends it from my phone to an AI for analysis. Everything that I do, say, happens in my day gets sent to this AI for
any fun summary from your rock trip? Pick up
I have
other
it all.
Conversations?
Yes. Yes.
It's Leo had a good day today.
The other thing I have to do,
rocks.
It has a button you can push to turn it off, to have it stop recording. And I keep forgetting to do that during TV shows. So occasionally he'll say things like, good luck with your rehearsals for Richard III. It's like,
we have an update on that when we can talk about it.
Let me introduce our guests. It's great. We've got the founders of Bee.Computer. They had their coming out party in January at CES. Maria, I'm going to do your name, I think correctly, de Lourdes Zoyo.
So it's Maria de Lourdes. Zoyo is my surname. South America.
So your first name is Maria de Lourdes.
Yeah.
And then Zoyo is your surname. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're not from Spain, you're from South America.
Born in Caracas, grew up in Italy. I'm a mix. And I really appreciate the pronunciation because I think basically no people understand that it's Zoyo.
I love it. And I saw that you went to school in Italy and I thought, that's definitely a Spanish name, so that's great. And with Maria, her co-founder, Ethan Sutton. Am I saying Sutton right?
Sutton.
Sutton?
Either way.
You guys met, what your previous startup was Squad, right?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Which then was purchased by Twitter and became Spaces.
Yes.
So you're the founders of Spaces.
Well, don't want to take full credit for Spaces.
Esther Crawford also, right?
Yeah. But we joined and launched it on Android. We were, interestingly worked on a lot of speech to text for the captioning of that.
Okay. So you both have a little bit of experience in AI, but tell me how you started Bee. Bee.Computer is the website, by the way.
Yeah, I will keep it really brief, but there's some relevance to our last company actually with Bee, because we actually started in 2016, the company we were all together with Esther that we sold to Twitter. We actually started it as a personal AI company. So me and Esther were always kind of really obsessed about what it would be like if we could have a computer, a machine, have like a really good model and understanding of ourselves, of humans, like personality, beliefs, attitudes, and thoughts, and like what value would come from that. We actually started that and launched it, but it was too early because it was before Transformers existed, before the Transformers paper, before large language models. And I don't know if you remember, there was like a brief, very short-lived chatbot boom in 2016.
Yeah, like, with Tay, Microsoft's Tay, the racist chatbot.
And like,
she rest in peace.
Yeah. Tay.
Yeah, we all thought chatbots would be the big thing, and it turned out they were terrible.
Yes, and we were excited about it, and so like we were one of the terrible chatbots at that time.
Oh dear.
But like we were too early. But it, I think that obviously that all changed with LLMs. So anyway, we pivoted and we went through Y Combinator, and we built Squad, and we worked at Twitter. But then, now it's kind of if you would have told us in 2016 the kind of natural language processing that's possible now, I don't think anybody working in the field would have really believed that we would have gotten so far.
It's been remarkable. We certainly wouldn't. And we've kind of jumped on it, transforming a show that used to be about the hot technology of 2016, Google, and is now about the hot technology of 2025, which is obviously AI.
While you're in the sequence, I'm just curious about
what I know Jeff's going to say. Esther Crawford was the woman who slept in her sleeping bag at Twitter after Elon took over. But you guys, were you you didn't stay for Elon, right?
No,
we left before.
Not related to Elon, but left before, so did not get to experience any of the Elon.
That was my question. Yes,
I knew where Jeff was going.
I just had to know.
Yeah. So no Elon stories and no sleeping in the office stories. But
I was about to say, B isn't keeping you guys sleeping in sleeping bags in the office.
Well, we're
for sure sleep deprived.
Yeah.
But hopefully just a normal amount where you can be sleep deprived and sleep in a bed.
Yeah.
Let me show you. I have my iPhone on the screen. This, by the way, only works with iOS currently. I'm sure.
Well, Android is actually in the Play Store now under.
Oh, yay.
Under preview, so it's in beta testing. We're still telling people that it's like the full support's on iOS, but the Android's full featured. And as soon as Android is a little trickier to iron out all the bugs with the device fragmentation and everything. But within about a week, we'll probably do the full release.
Yeah, I like that you just did the announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations! Thank you for holding that announcement for us.
It was in preview beta, but you can install it on Android now, and it works.
Okay, good. Amazingly, it's currently, this is the kind of Explorers edition, $50, and there's no subscription. Now, that's obviously going to change. In fact, I'm here to lobby you for that to change, because I want to make sure that you get a regular income for this, and I want to make sure we have access to the best AI models. Let me just, before we go any further, show people what I'm getting from this thing. Here's my Bee app. It does a few things. It records all the time, so it's recording right now. It's just it also has previous days, summarizes the daily. And by the way, the summaries are fun because it's not only it has a certain personality, which we'll talk about in a bit. And I stipulate this is not for everyone. I mean, there are probably a lot of people who say you have a microphone on at all times. What do the people around you think about that? It gives me a summary of the day, event highlights. Notice it's got a map. They even offer, didn't today, but often offer links associated with the things you were talking about. It also keeps track of things that I'm talking about that I might have a to-do around. So it suggests these to-dos. This is from today. And if I think, oh yeah, actually I do want to do that, I can press plus to add it to my actual to-do list. Otherwise I can delete it. I can then go to my to-do list, and you see it's been recording. I have 34 to-dos, but these are all legit things I want to do. I haven't typed any of this. This is all from listening, transcribing, analyzing, and then presenting to me.
Do you ever instruct Bee and say, don't forget to remind me of this?
Oh, yes, you can. We'll get to that in a second. I'll also show you, it is already 477 facts about me. The facts are often trivial. Oh, and I get to approve them all, right? So let me review some. I'm associating with people discussing topics like MacBook Pros and Bitcoin. Yes. I've been receiving significant residual income from Megaphone and Libsyn. Yes, I don't know how it knew that. I enjoy dark roast coffee with a preference for rich chocolate and bitter flavor. Okay, so this is one thing we'll talk about. That was Lisa. Now I can discard it, but it's actually not wrong. It was my wife. So sometimes it makes mistakes. That's true. I have an interest in AI topics. Would you say that's true? Yeah, all right.
I would say.
I like live events and shows in New York. By the way, that's because I was watching
Lisa.
Saturday Night Live last night.
Yeah, so we haven't updated that too.
Yeah, you're going to tell me about that. Pet cat named Sammy. True. Sammy, Leo's cat, has black fur coloring with a white nose and distinctive marking that represents a Hitler mustache. How did you know? Yes. So I can go through all of these. I won't go through all 49, but it is over time, and I think this is very smart, built up this fairly long list of 485 things it knows about me. Trivial little facts, but certainly things that could inform an AI to give me better results. So that's just a quick tour of the interface. Let's just see what it thinks of the current conversation. I am particularly focusing on the integration of AI into daily. Yeah, so it doesn't yet know that I'm talking to its parents, but it'll get that probably. So, a couple of questions right off the bat, and then I'll let you tell us more about this. Where is this going? Where is my recording going?
We don't store, so that there's no audio recording. Where is it going? It's going from the device through Bluetooth Low Energy to your iPhone.
Okay.
And the iPhone to the cloud and transcribed in real time. And then the audio is not, that's the end of its life.
So that's the privacy angle, at least so far. And by the way, that does answer a question I had about two-party recording. In California, I have to ask somebody before I can record a conversation with them.
California is a two-party consent state,
Yes.
and depends on the expectation of privacy by the other party. So in public, you wouldn't. In private, yes. It's...
So we're a little bit skirting the law here.
Well,
Rewind with its PIN won't record unless you get an explicit. Well, by the way, I don't have the PIN yet, so it's.
I was going to say, does that actually work? I'd be
I don't
curious
know.
to see.
They say they ask for explicit approval and then we'll record. And then the Plod doesn't record unless you press a button, presuming that Plod is presuming that you will ask before you record. This doesn't do any of that. And frankly, I think it's better because of it. But it might be a little extra legal.
Well, I think there's, it depends obviously on the jurisdiction, but, also I think a little untested around,
Yeah.
is the summary, and we target the summary to focus on the user through the speaker identification. Like, I don't think if you went through a lot of, your memories.
I don't have a transcript of things well, I sort of do, of things other people have
But
said.
you don't really have any personal information. I mean, I think this is like the key challenge we have to navigate is to kind of establish what the right norm is. I think that you would probably agree that it's going to be the future to have like AI understanding us. And so, the expectations are currently the way they are now, thinking about like, oh, somebody's recording me and listening to me. But if the expectation was my AI is just learning about what I did, purposely not learning about anybody else,
Right.
People would become more attuned to that.
So you don't reveal on the website or in your terms of service, you don't reveal the LLMs you use. Do you want to tell us now?
There's a variety of LLMs we use. So all of the pipelines, have different kind of requirements. So summary doesn't require necessarily the largest model, but like, for example, the assistant, you want a very large model. So we use self-hosted models, and then we do use commercial ones, and under the agreement of no retention, no training. So that's to be very clear, no training on customer data at all from us,
Right.
or any commercial model we use.
Okay.
And so I can say, from a provider, that you probably like.
How are you going to pay for this? This has got to be expensive.
Yeah, well, we will introduce soon the subscription.
Good.
So
I want you
it
to.
will be $12 per month. It will be a freemium model. So the basic features, as for example, memory, transcripts, all of that will be free for the users, but the integrations, as for example, you already have some of them right now for free, but Gmail, Google Calendar, how actually to give to be the digital side of you, that will be under the subscription model. In the future, and we're already testing them, we are testing agents, and those as well, they will be under the subscription model.
And we focus a lot on, when we introduce a subscription, to having a tier where people can kind of experience like the base, of memory building, of understanding and learning. And, you think it's very expensive, but with the right optimization, because it's like, it's all the time, it's really around voice activity.
Yeah.
So like it can vary how much inference is needed depending on how much you talk, how much voice activity. And then with the premium, you will, and you kind of alluded to this, have like the more accurate models, the larger models, the models that take more GPU to run. And then like you can still, and we can talk about this later, we have a version we're testing where everything runs on your iPhone. So this has both, for people who are very concerned about control of the data, but also, there's no inference cost to us if everything is running on the iPhone, and that won't be as accurate, obviously, as a large model that you couldn't run on the phone. But actually, for a lot of use cases, it's still very useful.
So it sounds like you got a lot of secret sauce in the AIs you're using. I don't want to press you. I mean, is the transcription done locally on the phone? Is it done in the cloud?
The transcription is currently done in the cloud.
Okay.
There is
your cloud or somebody else's cloud?
Our cloud.
Okay.
Well,
interesting.
Not our data center, but
you do have your own local models.
Yes.
Interesting.
We don't. Like I said, we do use some commercial models in some of the pipelines, but on the edge, on the mobile phone now, there is a model running. It's a very small model but it is a neural network for around detecting voice activity. Yeah. We have a fully working version, so every part of it, there's 5 different models that are needed to do it on the phone. And in that situation, it works on airplane mode.
Really?
The data never leaves your phone. So there's voice activity, there's the speech to text, there's the voice embeddings for speaker identification, there's text embeddings for retrieval, and then the LLM for the summary and assistant. So all of those can work on the phone. Obviously, they're in like the 3 billion parameter range for the LLMs.
Yeah, they're too small, those models, really, I think.
They're good. Like, they're not as good, but like the summary, like we field tested, and like it's still, you can still kind of experience the value of like the summaries. I think for the assistant, it's a little rough.
Yeah.
It's not so smart. But for things like summarization and like even generating insights and to-dos, it's surprisingly how good things are getting. We have Gemma, we have Phi, we have like really good small models now. But like you can see the trajectory going where like those models will be as good as some of the larger models now. But the best models will probably always remain on the cloud, because once those get so good, the ones on the we can run on larger machines will be even better than they are now.
Let me show you folks the settings page now on this. If you show my screen, Benito. So I'm going to go into settings. Show my screen, Benito. You have my screen? Am I doing this, Benito?
I'm seeing your screen.
You're seeing it. Okay, I have.
Well,
the
I'm
wrong
seeing your
thing.
screen on the camera thing, but it's not.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had a little
yeah.
trouble here.
Benito's having some trouble switching. I just want to show you the choices you have as the user. Some of the things in here are really kind of interesting. So here's
Yeah.
Here's my settings. You train it on your voice, obviously. You can connect accounts. I actually created special Google Gmail contact and calendar accounts that extract from my real Gmail and my real mail so that I get rid of some of the stuff that I don't want you to worry yourself about. But you could connect it if you, again, I know not everybody would do this, but I like it. You give it location. I'm giving it everything: location, reminders, notifications, photos, contacts, all the health information from Apple Health. This is kind of fun. You have a choice of, you can name your assistant and a choice of some voices. Oh, you've added quite a few more. Holy moly. That's pretty new. Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite voice?
Yeah. What voice do
the
you?
users love the voice. So
Yeah. Because you're going to talk to it. This is one of the things I think is the most fun. Is there a button on the thing, and you can choose what happens for what is it? A double tap, single tap mutes it. Is that right? And the double tap picks one of these actions.
Yeah, so it's like a multi-purpose button. So like the interface on the device is kind of intentionally pretty minimal. So
Which
it's
it should be. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So single button is to toggle mute. Double press is like a customizable action button.
Look at this. I have it on Fact Checker. So it's listening. You and I are talking, Jeff. You say something preposterous. If I double tap this, my phone will then say, what? I've never used it. I've never dared. Jeff, you ignorant slut. That's wrong. Interesting anecdote. Is that about you, or is it just a random anecdote?
It should be topical to what.
Okay. Process current conversation, which is probably the one most people would pick, which means this conversation I want a full summary of. Relationship advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And then roast. I did try the roast, and it was mean.
Yeah, we need to remove that.
Actually, we need to remove that.
Don't take it out. If somebody chooses roast, they deserve what they get.
Yeah, this is like that one uses a local uncensored model. I think it's not.
It's pretty. It's like Grock. It's pretty.
But yeah, this is like kind of an underdeveloped area that we are. We
are testing around that.
But that's what I like. This is the early version, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much so.
So you can also. You do get transcripts and you can assign names. So as I've been talking to people, I've assigned names to them so that there are some names, but it's not, there are better models for this kind, like Claude is very good at this kind of thing. I don't know what models you're using or whether that's even important to you. Except that, as I mentioned, occasionally it confuses.
Yeah, it is very important to us. And so this is actually one of our primary focus is improving.
But I understand. This is Explorer edition. This is like, I only paid $50 for this thing. And by the way, Maria, $5 a month?
No,
That's
12.
12.
Yeah.
Well, that's still, I'm paying 20 for Perplexity, paying 20 for ChatGPT, 20 for Claude. Everybody else is 20. That's a good deal.
What use cases? I can imagine many, but what are the A, most prevalent, but then B, any surprising use cases you're seeing?
Yeah, so some of them that we are super excited about them. Students in particular, students with ADHD, that they use Bee to having the transcripts of their lectures, understanding what areas they should be focused on study. As well, the neurodivergent use case.
Yeah, that really surprised us. A lot of people have wrote to us like around not just ADHD, but also people who've had, brain injury or a stroke. Yeah, so like we don't really even market it all to that, but I think there was just people looking for tools, but the really like amazing thing is they wrote and they're getting benefit from it, which is not anything we had really planned for.
In your Discord, I've talked to several people who
you're not Discord.
Who say this is great. There's a blind user who loves it. It's really it is absolutely an accessibility device. And I'm an old guy.
We really want to kind of expand, really dig into that, and
But ultimately, to me, and so this is like a very futuristic use of AI. But ultimately, to me, we're all disabled in various ways. And as I get older, my memory fades and things.
Yeah.
I think this is a daily journal, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely.
The reflective, like self-understanding, reflective part of, a lot of users kind of overlap with that. I think that applies to people generally. Like, one of the other kind of use cases that emerge are like people who are salespeople or talk, a lot for their job and they want feedback. But like, not only do they've given us feedback on that, but then they're like, make this insight use case more, they have feature requests for that. And so it's kind of crossing between work and reflection.
Yes. Yeah, that's, I think, is one of the things that I found like the most interesting is that some people are coming for professional, but after they're asking parental advices or, almost like the holistic coach aspect of the product. How can I be better on something? How can I have more personal insights about myself, patterns on my relationship, things like that.
Yeah,
there are people in the Discord who are asking. So you can talk to the assistant and say, you can ask it for things. There's one guy who says, I want all your answers to sound like it's Bill Burr. I don't know how permanent that is, but he says it's very funny. But there's some people who say, hey, listen to this next conversation I'm having with my wife and let me know if I'm doing something that is, non-productive or, or whatever, if I'm being mean or, and I guess that's the relationship advice button too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can, in the assistant, it will, and I kind of measure my life in tokens now in terms of tokens I produce. So like 250,000 tokens is like my informational output per day. But like that builds up over time. And so like the assistant can actually, traverse, in my case, 50 million tokens. So if I ask it to kind of analyze my behavior and trends, it can look historically and then kind of coordinate that with things that happened in my email and calendar, and then kind of try and connect the dots. And I think this is something that's really useful, and will only get better, like the more signals we can understand and the better we can kind of allow the assistant to think about it, to iterate across and pull things that when it discovers something, that then it can fetch relevant pieces and then continue on until it has something that's kind of substantial that's kind of surprising to me.
That's the point, right? Is the more you give, it's like RAG, the more you give the AI of your life, the more insights you can ask, the more information you can get from it.
Yeah.
I think this is now there's a privacy concern and people want to make sure, but just to reiterate, you're not saving. What do you have? What data do you save?
Well, we don't save any audio, so that's processed in real time, and there's never any audio saved. To perform the functionality of the assistant, we have to have the conversation history to be able to then perform the AI on it, and we do a lot to make sure that it's only ever decrypted at the time the AI needs to run inference. And so, I mean, I think you probably are aware, like the Apple Intelligence, they have a hybrid.
Yeah, and it's pretty stupid, to be honest with you, because I think they're unwilling to breach people's privacy to some degree. You gotta know stuff to understand stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, I think
and they have a hybrid. I know what you were. I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent.
Yeah,
they have a local model, and they also will go to their particular servers in the cloud. And then even further, if they can't answer it, they'll refer you to ChatGPT. But then they'll warn you, we're about to send you somewhere where we don't control what happens.
Yeah.
So that's roughly the model you're using?
Yeah, roughly. I mean, we to provide the service, we use the models in the cloud, but we take every safeguard to make sure that the data is encrypted up until the point and that it's basically unreadable up until the point where it needs to be decrypted to AI. And we're always trying to find, to get the, like, for example, to get the Google scopes, we had to go, we voluntarily went through a third-party security audit. So,
oh, that's good.
Yeah, we take it very seriously, and like we're committed to doing it every 6 months as like a best practice. And we come from an information security background too. We worked at Twitter Payment. We worked on like the first Twitter Blue, if you remember that.
Blessed soul, bless it.
Yeah.
Tony Hale, we love Tony Hale. What about this? The discoverability in subpoenaed? If it's where is it vulnerable?
Oh yeah, Paris is a reporter. You wouldn't want to wear this to a interview with a source, would you?
I mean, yeah, I think that's certainly a question. Does the data exist in some place that hypothetically a recording of your entire life could be subpoenaed?
So this is a great question. When you say recording, well, there's no recording, so we wouldn't be able to comply with any requests asking for audio because it doesn't exist.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The metadata and the summaries, yes, we are vulnerable to that now, because we would fight any court order, but because we have to decrypt it to be able to run the AI on it, we cannot do full end-to-end encryption because then, unless you're running on local model mode. So our plan around this is kind of multi-step. So like we're going to be releasing very soon the fully local mode. So you can turn it on, and then anything that's all the transcription, all the AI is all happening on your device. So the data is on your device. So that would not be vulnerable because we couldn't comply with anything because there's no data that's possible to comply with. Again, they're not as accurate models, but they still provide like pretty good results, and they'll only get better over time as what you can run on the edge improves. And then there's like the second option, which we're working on now, which is where, and not to get too technical, but like if we have the encryption key, well, you guys understand, but like if you have the encryption keys that you control on your phone, and then the data is encrypted where you would like ephemerally grant access to run some AI, like when you're using the assistant, you would give us a decryption token that has a certain 12-hour, 1-hour life. And then, so we wouldn't be able to decrypt the data unless you explicitly allow it, and that's time limited. And then like, if we don't have your permission at that point and you can delete the key, revoke the key at any time, then there's no way to comply.
Yeah, I think look, I no longer care about privacy, so I'm a perfect guinea pig for this, and I'm not worried about it. But obviously, before it became a real consumer product, people would want to know that was the case. And there's going to have to be a certain amount of trust. They're going to say, oh yeah, Marie and Ethan, I trust them to do the right thing with my data. But I also...
How do you guys think, just generally, broadly, about the idea of us transitioning from a world where, I don't know, you can say something or have a conversation with someone and the only two people that know are you two, to a world where this is all increasingly recorded or searchable in some way? I mean, obviously, this is a quandary bigger than your company, but I assume you've given this quite a bit of thought. So I'm curious as to your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, core to what we want to navigate. And like, I mean, I think that we really believe that the value of what you can do with AI when it has this context about you is going to be so undeniable that not just us, but it will be kind of normalized, and so there will be some expectation changes. But I think that like core is like, if you want like to have like an off-record conversation, like obviously that's always should be.
You can press that button and it's off the record. Yeah.
But we do want people to be responsible and but I think that like, if you think about the future, and Google's promoting always on AI, and like Meta, like with the Ray-Bans, I think increasingly, it will become kind of normalized. Like, maybe when Ring came out, you have a doorbell camera, like that was kind of quite controversial at the time, but like it just became kind of more normalized because there's a lot of value to be able to like have some ability to see who's at your door. But like the key thing that we need to do is like like you said, build trust, make sure we can do it in a privacy centered way, but also, you know, I think the value of having personal AI is just going to be more or less universal. And I mean, the trade-offs there are real, but they can be like maximizing the benefit and minimizing any downsides.
Yeah, I also believe that we are in a transitional time. So right now it's a bit challenging. And, you know, we are a startup, so there are like many things that we need to take care about, that we should care about, but I think it's just a transition and will be the norm. And that's what makes me excited. Like one day, actually, like what AI can do for me now that knows me so well. What are the actions? How actually, you know, I can be free in a way.
Well, that raises another question then of kind of the portability of this. Mm-hmm. Is there an ecosystem that exists where if someone comes up, do you envision an ecosystem where someone can create a specific application on top of what you have? You know, I want to create a romance advisor, or I want to create a job advisor, or I want to do a negotiation coach. Can you imagine that this is either portable, that I could take some kind of concatenization of what data is collected somewhere else, or that someone can plug an application in on top of what you have? Is that in the future, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have a developer API currently.
Yeah, where does that? Because I heard about that. Now I'm thinking that's really
developer.b.computer.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I think that's definitely a priority for us because, like, both in terms of data portability, yes, you can export data, but also like what kind of use cases that are beyond what we would build, like, can be empowered by this.
Right.
And about like, the future and like where there's different ways to exchange signals, maybe there will be some open standard even that will allow like even more facilitated kind of exchange between AI systems where it's like you can authorize this AI system to have this explicit part of my context, and there'd be some standard where they can just talk to each other. And I think like one example, this is all unreleased yet from Apple, but like they talk about the semantic engine on the iPhone where like Siri can query apps about context. So you could see like, Siri could query Bee and be like, I want to know about this part of Ethan's life. And then if you had authorized it, then Bee can return like context from in real life that Siri wouldn't have.
What about the agentic strategy? You mentioned at the beginning that you're starting to play with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's our frontier and like a key thing we're excited about, because like one of the most valuable things that we could do is actually like proactively help and take actions. So like for example, a simple one is like if there's a to-do that we could help with, the Bee could help with, like there should just be you could just say yes, go do it.
Yeah.
And because it has all of your preferences, it doesn't need to ask you every little thing. Especially at the beginning, there'd be the appropriate amount of human in the loop, so it, has your kind of sign off it. But like, for an example, like, a to-do is referencing like, oh, you need to follow up with this person from something that Bee learned. It could just have a button just like, do you want me to draft the follow-up for you and send it? And it can do that. But, larger, like, more complex, multi-step kind of things it can be doing for you.
Maria, can you talk a little bit about the roadmap? What I can look forward to?
Something that I wanted to mention as well, like speaking about agents, one of the things that I envision for the future is how agents can speak with each other, meaning like how actually personal AI can speak with my personal AI and how they can take actions on our behalf. We did some experiments where Ethan's agent spoke with my agents, and they chose for us nice French restaurant nearby based on our locations, and actually it was quite good.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And basically, like the both agents that they knew our preferences in terms of food, they knew our location, they knew when we were free based on our calendar, and they figured that out for us. And that's where I want to go, understanding how actually, the user should not do things, but it's more like your personal AI that does those actions for you. And I feel that will make us even more connected as humans.
I wish I'd had this my whole life. It would be really fun to go back and look at different days of my life. Does this, it saves it all forever? Does it roll off at some point, or?
No. So it's everything is there unless you explicitly remove a memory.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is an incredible journal.
Yeah, indeed, like the other thing that amazed me is the fact that some users were sad or upset if they don't bring the bee with them, because after a while they get used to it.
Yeah, you get hooked.
They're like, oh my God, like I lost my day, or, I want to understand what happened, but now I cannot, because there is a point of self-reflections that bee helps you to do. So
yeah, and the journal part, one of the fun things that at the around Christmas when the Spotify rap came out, I just asked Bee, make a life wrapped, in the Spotify style for my life, and it was you visited 3, it had stats 3 countries. Here are your key achievements.
Yes.
And
See, I feel like in a way I'm making an investment in the future of AI. I'm now storing as much as I can.
Yeah.
Yes.
Knowing that sometime this will be a treasure trove. Maybe it's, a little trivial right now. It's actually already quite useful, but I can only imagine what it will become down the road.
Yeah. And future, there is one of the things that sometimes we wonder around the vision of the product. So right now it's just audio, but for future, there might be a vision, a camera component in the product as well.
A camera of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, I really want you guys to succeed. I think this is
thank you so
fantastic.
He's your best agent. He's very enthusiastic.
I love it. Yeah, I talk about it all the time. Right now in the app, I can request an agent upgrade. Is that just a nonsense setting, or?
No, we can enable it for your account. I mean, we want to be very careful with the agents because we don't want any harm at all, around.
So assume that I'm the person who you can harm all you want.
Okay.
And I am, well, no, I'm just all in on the potential for this, and I've got nothing to lose at this point.
Wait, I'm confused. With the agent upgrade, what does that entail?
Yeah, what do I get?
Well, yeah, we
The 00 number?
we have, all right, so we have agents that run in multiple execution environments. So just to give a brief kind of outline of how it works. So, the LLM can do kind of, tool calling. So for things you already have, there's kind of already a little bit of agent. You can ask the assistant to send an email to look up some information. It can send an email. So that's kind of one way. Where we have API access to take actions, we will use that. But as you know, we can't integrate with everything. A lot of things don't have public APIs.
Right.
So we have 2 other agent execution environments. The one that you saw in the request screen. So, basically you get a lot of stuff done probably on your phone. Most people's digital life, it revolves around the phone. So the concept is if you get a lot done on your phone and we're trying to give everybody a personal AI, what if we gave their personal AI their own phone? Right, that it could do things for you and had all the same apps that you do. And so we actually have an emulated cloud phone for users who are enrolled in the agent, and it can use its cloud phone to perform actions for you. And that gives it, through computer use, the ability to use any app that exists, and it can do, multiple steps. We could try and give you a demo. We don't have the phone. Unfortunately, I think we can't share the phone screen. But I'd love to give you a demo or follow up. We can enable it on your account.
Just turn it on my account, and I'll end up demoing it on the next show, probably.
Okay.
Most likely by accident.
Yeah.
So if you go now to Bee.Computer, you've sold out. How many? Well, you probably don't want to talk about numbers, but how many?
We have the next shipment arriving
soon.
Yeah.
24th. It's
24th.
5 days.
It's shipping tomorrow, and will arrive to then be shipping to customers on the 24th.
So and again, I don't think it's for everybody, but it's only $50 if you want to play with it. And currently there is. Go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, one of the things that we are seeing is that some of our customers, they're buying Bee for, after they try it for family or friends.
Yeah.
So we have
I'm going to need a new one pretty soon. I can tell I'm delaminating it already because I never take it off.
It, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
But the data's on my account, not this device.
Yeah.
So yeah. And when you come up with one that I could put in my ear or on my glasses that has a camera, I'll be getting that one too. I think the idea is brilliant, and the execution is surprisingly good considering how early days we are with all of this. And now that I've talked to you, I think one of the things that wasn't apparent to me, and I read through all the material I could on this, is the complexity and the depth that you guys have put into the software. The back end of this is actually kind of interesting. It's very impressive. A lot of thought has gone into this. I wish you the best.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Keep
you
up the good work.
Talk to us.
Maria de Lourdes
you.
Zoyo, it's great to have you. Ethan Sutton, great
Yes.
to have you. Founders of Bee.Computer, at Bee.Computer on the web. Can you turn on my, give me all the things.
Yeah.
I want it to be smart. I don't care if it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Leo really
I
just
like the
arranged
roast.
this interview so that he could get an upgraded feature.
That was the
for
whole
his Bee
point,
account.
frankly. Yeah, it's just to get upgraded. No, I was very impressed by this, and I really have thought for a long time that the future of AI is personal AI. One of the many futures.
Yes.
But personal AI has such an interesting implication in our lives. Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Ethan. Really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. You're watching Intelligent Machines. Getting more intelligent all the time. Our show today brought to you. We'll get to the AI news in just a bit, and we've got some fun stuff for the back of the book as well. Our episode brought to you by Zscaler this week, the leader in cloud security. As you probably know, if you've been following this, and certainly if you listen to Security Now, it's obvious that enterprises have been spending billions of dollars on perimeter defenses, firewalls. And then, of course, you have to get VPNs so that employees can use your network and your apps. Has this made everything safe? No. Breaches continue to rise. In fact, ransomware is up last year 18% year over year. $75 million record payout in 2024. Clearly, what we're doing isn't working. These traditional security tools expand your attack surface with public-facing IP addresses that are exploited by bad actors. And, of course, the bad actors are getting worse because they're using AI now to craft their attacks, which means they can operate faster and faster. And, the assumption on this is it's almost a bad mindset because you think I've got the perimeter defenses. So the assumption is anybody inside our network works for us or is supposed to be there, right? But we know now that's not the case. The breaches are going on like all the time. What do? Well, if you don't have some sort of protection, you're allowing them lateral movement anywhere in your network. They can find stuff before they even trigger the ransomware. They look through your emails. They look for incriminating emails. They exfiltrate customer information. They blackmail you with that. We're going to reveal everything, all because they have full access once they're inside. And of course, part of the problem with this perimeter defenses is the bad guys, when they start exfiltrating, they encrypt their outbound traffic, and these VPNs and firewalls cannot really analyze this encrypted traffic at scale. It just allows all that data out. Hackers, bottom line, are exploiting traditional security infrastructure using AI to outpace your defenses. It's time to rethink your security. You can't let these bad actors win. That's why you need Zscaler. Zero trust plus AI. Those are two concepts that you really need. Zero trust hides your attack surface. Your apps, your IPs are invisible. There's no lateral movement. Users are only allowed to connect to specific apps. There's no assumption that, well, you're in the network, you're good. No, you have to have permission to do anything. And it continuously verifies every request based on identity and context. Zscaler simplifies security management using AI-powered automation, and it uses AI to analyze over 500 billion daily transactions. Most of those are fine, but looking for those suspect transactions that are going to become threats over time. It's really remarkable. Hackers can't attack what they can't see. Protect your organization with Zscaler Zero Trust Place AI. You can learn more at zscaler.com/security. That's ZSCALER, ZSCALER.com/security. We thank them so much for supporting the show. And we thank you for supporting the show by using that address, zscaler.com/security. So there's an API. They seem like they have pretty good data security, at least intentions. You think you'd buy one of these things? Paris?
Paris, you were the most dubious, I would say.
Oh, you're muted.
I'm muted. Even B can't hear you.
I muted it so that I could eat a biscuit, and then I forgot.
Now, is that a biscuit, or is that a cookie calling itself a biscuit?
It's a biscuit, but
last week you said spanner. You're trying to act all.
Oh, is she getting Anglo on us?
She is.
No.
Get off the lift,
I was
and you're
reading something written by an Australian, and he said spanner. To be clear, my answer to the B question. One brief aside, though. This is a biscuit, but they call it a scone at the bakery I get. So it's all kind of all a problem. My B answer is it's not personally a technology or a tool for me, but I'm happy you're happy. You seem very happy about it lately.
What is it about it that turns you off?
I'm not certain that I don't see a use case for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not certain. Like I was thinking during that conversation, I was like, all right, how would I use this if I wanted to try it out? I'm like, because I think the way to get some sort of use out of it, like you are describing, like they were describing, would lie in connecting it to everything, as you demonstrated, connecting it to your reminders, your calendar invite, having it in your app so that it can scoop up all that data and make intelligent-ish inferences from it, or at least records of it. But given my line of work, I'm just not certain that that's tenable in any way. Like I use, I would have to somehow contain it to personal devices versus work, and in a way that I'm just not certain that it would. But even outside of that, the only compelling use case that I think that it reminds me of that Black Mirror episode that I'm going to poorly describe because I haven't seen it. But I've heard someone describe it. So it reminds me of that Black Mirror episode where it's something like there's a technology that can record all of your memories or every fabric of waking life, and it utterly destroys all of the characters' lives and sanity. Because I think that there is, and maybe this is an outdated notion, but I think that there is something beautiful and messy about humanity and human existence to where I don't have a record of every embarrassing thing I've ever done, nor do all of my friends or enemies. And I'm just not sure that humanity is built to have that suddenly, even though that seems to be where we're going.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. That it's probably good to forget a lot of this or have an imperfect memory. How about you, Jeff?
It's a gadget. I'm like you. I have the same disease you have, Leo. It's a gadget. I want to buy it, right? It's a connected gadget that can do things that I can't even see. I'm fascinated. As I think it through, I mean, if I were teaching full time, I could really see the use of it.
For student or teacher, valuable.
Both.
Anthony Nielsen's saying, I don't talk much because he's, he works at home. If you didn't have any audio, you wouldn't be that useful. I agree.
Right. That's the thing. I'm sitting here writing my book.
It's somewhat less useful for me for that reason because I don't, the only person I'm ever having any conversations with is my wife. I don't go outside. So, but for a teacher, a student,
But some teachers get quite freaked at the idea of students recording them.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
This is actually a huge problem right now. It has been for years with and I'm not going to go into details, with the turbulent political climate people are experiencing all over the world. You could imagine a situation where, and I've heard anecdotally from professors over the past 10 years being like, I'm worried that I'm going to make some offhanded comment in one of my classes. A student is going to record that, leak it to some media outlet, and then I'll lose my job. Yeah. I just think there's a lot of strange consequences that are opened up where suddenly everyone is recording everyone all the time. And that's not even considering the national security implications.
I recognize I'm in a somewhat privileged position where I'm not at risk. I'm not employed by anybody. I'm a white man. I'm an older white man. I'm not really in a high risk environment. I'm in a privileged environment.
The other interesting thing about it is, so professors, some of them, not all of them, but some, I'm very open and I put my stuff up online and I'm fine with that. But some are copyright hawks of their own sort,
right? And
they don't want their stuff recorded for that reason. And then there's an interesting thing about being caught in. So I had a minister once back when I was a decent human being who actually went to a church. And he never let us I was on the board of the church, believe it or not, and he never let us put his sermons online. And he said, he thought someone would steal them. And I thought, well, frankly, sir, they're not very much worth stealing. But then as I thought about it, I realized, I'm pretty sure, he was projecting that he was borrowing sermons.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be discovered.
If you think about it, writing a new sermon for some is quite a challenge. Mm-hmm. There are AI tools for writing sermons now.
There are now.
Father Robert told me about this. So I understand. And you don't want to write a sermon and have somebody else use it, I guess.
And I can see, if I were, let's say, an executive and I'm dealing in legal matters, personnel matters, that kind of stuff, or a dean, and I'm dealing with similar kinds of things, I can imagine my organization say, don't you dare.
Right.
And so it'll be interesting, but obviously, we've talked about this in terms of, well, let me ask, what about your mother? Would this be useful for her?
Yeah, she's Alzheimer's. Yeah. Problem is right now you have to be fairly technical to use it. So I don't, but
if the place were using it.
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
I mean, certainly that's an application. And as I get older and my memory deteriorates, I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think that it's interesting. I think this is a larger conversation, which is, society isn't crazy about these tools. The people who are, I think, may have an advantage. Do you think in the long run over people who?
In what way?
More insight, more information.
How does your phone knowing that your cat has a Hitler mustache provide you an advantage?
Well, if at any point there is a surgical solution for that, they may let me know. I don't know. No, you're right.
Well,
a lot of
Gizmo has a half a Hitler mustache, and I'm going to leave it on her face.
The worst thing about this is you realize 99% of your conversations in life are completely trivial
are absolutely trivial. Well, I was thinking about this. My wife is very private. I could think her thinking, "Are you knucking futz?" No, absolutely way. Though I can imagine this use case, Leo, in which she says, "Give me that thing. I'm going to play back. I did too tell you about this."
Right.
Or, I was about to say, my immediate thoughts is this would be useful in arguments, and I'm not certain that it would actually be useful.
Would it be good? It would be useful. Would it be good? Is another entirely.
Productive,
and I think keeping track of agreement. One of the things I think is useful is keeping track of the things I've said I'm going to do, or I've agreed to do, or want to do as a to-do list. That's pretty valuable. I've tried to do that in my own life, and it's hard. I'll remember that to do that. The fact that it picks these up. But the disadvantage is it can't read my mind. It doesn't know unless I say it out loud. So,
Hey, Neuralink is coming.
It's just around the corner
just for you.
Just around the corner. Scarlett Johansson urges the government to limit AI after a fake video of her opposing Kanye goes viral.
I never saw the video itself.
Okay,
right? It was a bunch of celebrities,
quote,
right?
It's a bipartisan issue that enormously affects the immediate future of technology is very funny to say in response to an AI video of yourself going viral.
Yeah. It's a little, look, I'm a big fan of Scarlett Johansson. She's the most powerful woman in Hollywood.
And she was being used by OpenAI. Let's not forget. I think she's a bit bruised in that her voice was being used there.
But this is an example of kind of knee-jerk anti-AI movement, of which there will be a lot, I'm sure. I don't think the government should limit AI because there was a fake viral video of her.
No.
That seems like a lot. That seems like a big ask.
Well, and I think there's a First Amendment issue there too. If I wanted to hire actors to do exactly what that video was, I have a right to do that. Just because I use the machine to do it, I can't.
Well, but she has
a machine trained on her voice.
Yeah, she has a right of
of publicity.
Publicity, not that you not use her image, and she could pursue it along those lines. That's fine. For her then to say, no, a government's got to ban AI is another.
No.
That's a bridge too far. Yeah. All right. Just thought I'd bring that
So
up.
Jeff,
But
would you get a bee? And what would you use it for?
You see, I had for a brief time the disease that Leo has, which was Kickstarter disease.
yeah, I had to stop that.
Yeah, he had a bad case. I had a light case. So I would buy stuff because I'm fascinated with it. I have a Newton back there in my closet.
What?
I had several, but I got rid of them when I closed the studio. I got rid
Of the
all that
Isaac
stuff.
variety?
No, you know what
No,
a
not
Newton is?
Isaac Newton. Oh, she doesn't know what a Newton is.
Oh my God. Oh, she's so young. She's so.
What's a Newton,
Before the
guys?
Palm Pilot, Apple rreleased a handheld device that you could write on.
In a certain kind of, it was a very certain kind of writing you had to do.
It was a flop. You don't know about the Newton? That's interesting.
Hold on, we got to show
phone.
her.
You do have to
Doonesbury
show
Newton.
me.
Doonesbury Newton.
Doonesbury Newton?
So Doonesbury did a famous comic commenting on the very poor handwriting recognition of the Newton
Here's one. I'll put it up in the chat.
in the Discord.
In the Discord.
Okay, let me go to the Discord. Wow. So this is from this looks like Simpsons. So Bart is writing "beat up Martin" and it says eat up Martha." But this was a long time ago. It was before the internet. It was before cell phones. So this is not unusual that you have inventions that eventually will become a big deal, but that technology
it was way too early.
It was just too early. That's all.
So I would love to have gadgets.
What was your first PDA? First, Paris, I gotta know. Not public display of affection. What was your
You're
first
not going to
handheld?
like the answer.
Was it the
It was a
iPhone?
smartphone of some sort.
Yeah.
I can't recall. It might have been no, it might have been an early iPhone. I don't know. I'd have to do some
But it was
research.
a phone, probably.
It was a phone with all screen, no I guess
God.
no keyboard. But I remember my mother having a Zune.
A Zune.
I really
My
wanted
mom had a Zune. Jeff,
My mom did have a
Jeff,
Zune.
we're so old.
That wasn't a PDA. That's not a PDA.
Yeah, that
Zune was just a
media
music player. It was a
Or no, what am I thinking of? There was like a little switchy guy. I'll think
It was
about
probably a
it.
Palm Pilot or a Clio.
A sidekick.
A sidekick? You think she had a sidekick? That's pretty fancy.
Oh, sidekick.
Mom had a Zune.
She
You
did have
remember-
a Zune.
Leo, we were at South by Southwest at the Dig event, and Microsoft was a sponsor, and they tried to give away a Zune, and nobody wanted it.
Nobody would take it.
What I'm thinking of is the Verizon chocolate phone. She also had one of those.
Okay.
And I don't know why that lies
So-
in my head.
Prior to all of this, there was a whole bunch of different, they called them personal digital assistants. The Newton started it, but they were all flawed. I mean, the Palm Pilot was pretty successful. But because they didn't have a phone in them, it wasn't until you could get the internet on them and the phone in them that they really became useful. And now this is our primary computing device, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like this is,
Oh yeah,
a lot of people don't even have a computer anymore. They have a phone.
That's psychotic, but I understand.
Well, you need one because you're a writer. But if you didn't have
I know,
to write.
but it feels right. Sometimes you need to do, sometimes I feel like if I'm making a large purchase, it needs to be on a computer rather than a phone. It feels too trivial to do it on the small screen.
When you
rather
bought your
than the big
TV,
screen.
did you do that on the
I did,
computer?
yes, because I had
How
to
do you
open
like
a lot
that,
of
by the way?
tabs.
Are you happy with it?
We talked about it a little bit last week. It's fantastic. It's like you were right that I should have gotten the 65-inch. I did that on your recommendation, and it is like.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the movies ever again.
I don't. It's
She
so
bought an
big.
OLED
It's
she bought an LG
a
OLED
QD.
TV.
Oh, no, she
OLED.
followed your
no.
instructions.
I got a Samsung S90 QD OLED.
Wow. You got the
those
best
quantum
screen
dots.
There's no going back from
And
that.
It's also so thin. It is Like, I was shocked when I took it out of the box. I had to ask my upstairs neighbor to help me lift it up there because I foolishly thought I could put it on my thing myself. No, not allowed to do that. But the thing that I've really liked the most is I got a Blu-ray player as well.
Oh, good.
And it's been delightful.
What's the first movie that you watched?
Wild at Heart, which was the movie that
That's
started
what you
this all.
wanted. Yes.
But now I've been watching all of Twin Peaks on Blu-ray, and I really love it because I started watching Twin Peaks while I was waiting for the disc to arrive on whatever streaming service is available. That was fine. But watching it on Blu-ray is totally different because they have the Log Lady intros, which I guess aired when Twin Peaks was airing. But now I get to watch those, and they're great.
This was a woman that carried around, as I remember, a log.
Yes, but she at the very beginning of, she's just kind of a side character in Twin Peaks. But something I didn't realize is when they were airing them on TV originally, they have these little intros that play before the show starts where the log lady is sitting at a table holding her log and does a direct-to-camera monologue kind of about nothing, but also about strange things that kind of tangentially relate to the episode, and it's beautiful. Would really recommend the
and
log
in 4K,
lady intros.
there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it.
Well, I'm glad you like it. I think you did the right thing. You got it.
Right, before we move on, I have one question for you guys, which is I have a strange compulsion, which has been brought up by this conversation we just had, to get old technology and frame it or like put it on my wall in some way, maybe in a shadow box or just hold. I thought about this with the corded phones before. If I was to do this, the PDA, what early 2000s phone should I do? What looks interesting or is notable?
Well, a trio is a wonderful thing. Let me see if I get mine.
Oh, he's going to go get his trio, ladies and gentlemen. See, this is where getting rid of the studio was such a wonderful thing for me because I really got rid of a lot of this stuff. I kept very little of it.
You're going to cavell.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? See, it has a little antenna.
That's really beautiful, actually.
Yeah.
It really
Do you want to have it dismantled
this.
and framed, or you want to have it just framed as is?
Framed as is.
There's shadow box. Yeah, I think you want that.
Because that's one thing people do now is they disassemble these things and have it all arranged nicely in a shadow box.
I have a box
that could be
downstairs.
kind
Next
of
week I
fun.
can bring it upstairs. I have a Newton. There was another device that you clipped on your belt. It was this really dorky thing, and it dealt with a vertical blanking interval and got a constant feed of information, would pick up some, so it was like a beeper, but just for your stock prices or news headlines. It was a way you were going to get news.
And do you have that in a box?
I have that downstairs, yeah.
You got to bring that next week. I want to see that.
I have
obsessed with stock.
I have an Intel, now that Intel's about to get broken up and die, Intel worked on an early tablet. Just about the time Bluetooth came out. It wasn't Bluetooth, it was an Intel proprietary thing. It never came to market. I had the prototype because I worked on it. And the idea was you would sit on your couch and it would replicate your laptop, if not laptop, there were no laptops. It would replicate your desktop screen and your den behind you. So that way you could surf on your couch. I have a news pyramid. Did you ever have that one, Leo?
No.
So it also worked on the vertical blanking.
Oh, it lit up a little bit and...
No, this is different. It was vertical blanking interval, and that was a constant stream of information, and you programmed it to just pick up what you wanted.
It's a news pyramid, but it's not the pyramid structure used in news. It's a different.
No, it's a news different thing. Exactly.
It's a physical pyramid that has an antenna, and it turns out the public broadcasting stations all over the country in the broadcasting technology, there was a little extra space that you could send data, but very, very slowly out over their antenna. So there were devices made that would pick up this data and display it, and that's what he had.
And it's called a news pyramid?
Talk about a gadget.
News
pyramid.
Pyramid. Yeah, I've got that downstairs. There's
You
also
still have it?
Google Glass. Oh, yeah.
You can even find this on Google. I just did a couple.
You want me to run
searches.
downstairs now and get the box?
I mean, you don't have to.
No.
We'll go
Let me
do it
show
next
you, though.
week.
This is what we were talking about, the disassembled, kind of blown up. This is an iPhone 6. These are on Etsy. So it's kind of cool. A lot of people do these. A lot of our people in our audience do make their own. They'll disassemble something and frame it. Yeah, I think it's kind of an interesting way to show old technology. You might as well do that with your news pyramid, because public broadcasting stopped sending data in the vertical blank a long time ago.
Did I ever tell you about my use of public broadcasting with the India Journal?
No.
The story. So the first task I did when I got to Advanced Publications in Jersey City is, as Steve Newhouse, my boss, said, we were in the shadow of the Statue of Liberty, and all these waves of immigrants come in, and the time Italians and English, and Irish and German, and so when we were there working, there was Indian and Pakistani, and so we wanted to serve them. And one story from all of India in the newspaper every week wasn't going to do much. So we started the India Journal. This is 1990. This is pre-web, just pre-web, 1994. And so we found a whole bunch of old computers and put them out in the neighborhoods, and people there would send in reports and would come into a bulletin board we had. And then every day in what we called the Black Hole of Calcutta, which was below the press room in the building, Sri Ram Krishnaswamy would turn out a 2-page news bulletin about both local and diasporal news from India and Pakistan.
In English?
Yes. And it went out over the vertical blanking interval into the NBC signal, down into a TV antenna over the Shivam Deli on Newark Avenue, down into a kitchen microwave cart that I put together.
What?
And in there was a laptop and a big printer with a big red button. We worked with MIT Media Lab, and the assistant had to have a big red button. And you hit it, and out would come the day's India Journal in the midst of the Indian neighborhood. It was killed. You want to guess why? You want to guess who killed this project?
Who?
The Teamsters.
Oh.
Because it was seen as an alternate delivery of the newspaper.
Oh man! And that
the vertical blanking interval was a handy way to transmit a constant flow of information, and was used. Was that not the basis of teletext and video text?
It was. That was teletext. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teletext over VBI, but it wasn't even 300 baud. It was pretty slow.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a rat hole.
What a beautiful world.
So weirdly, one of my first computer programs back in the 90s was a demon dialer. I had a bulletin board system, and so you had to dial into it, right? And I only had 2 lines.
A demon dialer?
Well, it was very hard to get in. There were only 2 phone lines, right? So I wrote a Mac program that would run on the vertical blank interval, because there is a moment in time on all CRTs when the cathode ray tube, right? There's a gun that's firing, what is it? I don't even remember now, some sort of electrons at the cathode ray tube to light it up. It goes all the way up, and then there's a moment in time when it repositions that it's not doing anything. So the computer is kind of waiting for the gun to go back down to start drawing the next screen. So that gives you a very small millisecond length of time that the computer's just sitting there. And what I wrote was one of the first I think it might be the first multitasking program for the Macintosh. During that vertical blank interval, it would stuff dial commands into your modem. It took quite a few of them, but by the end of it, it would fill it up, and then you could dial the modem, and if it got a busy signal, it would start over. But if it didn't, it would beep a loud.
I think you might have advanced past. We didn't go back far enough for Paris here. The old bulletin boards, Paris. You weren't
bulletin boards. I've got bulletin.
Do you know
boards.
BBSs? Okay.
I know bulletin boards. Everything else you just mentioned, I was trying to hold in my head. I wish that there was a book that I could read that I would understand all of it.
Let me share this
because it's fascinating to me.
Yamming CRT yolks. Do you know that in the old days, they didn't have flat, thin screens like your TV. They had a cathode ray tube.
Yes. I had one.
And this is the little thing that's firing at the gun that's firing. To align these is called yamming them, and it's very difficult. So it turns out we've only recently learned how they did automated deflection yoke yamming. Here's a video from Thomson. This is a video from Thomson Electronics on how we aligned the yokes in a mass way in the factory. The article starts, when I worked in a TV repair shop, the first thing they told you is never touch the yoke for 2 reasons. 1, it could electrocute you. But 2, once it's out of alignment, it's almost impossible to get back in alignment. So here's Bill. from Thomson
Wow.
Consumer Electronics. He's talking about
Icon.
how they came up with an automated way to do the yamming. I don't know when this is recorded, but look at that
Oh, look at that
screensaver.
screensaver. So good.
All right.
Hey, they
We
managed to not
really-
have a refresh line on that screen.
Oh, yeah. You have to have a special camera that you could adjust the shutter speed. So just as we've done here, so that you don't get, because, you notice you don't have this refresh problem with LCDs. So my LCDs don't. But this Mac is a CRT. In fact, was it you, Benito, who got this working?
No, it was Russell or
What is
Bert?
that fun? Is it a screensaver on that, or is
Yeah,
that
it's flying
lights
toasters.
reflecting?
That was the big. That was the funny. Everybody had the same sense of humor at the same time. We had a universal sense of humor, and toasters flying was funny to everyone.
Everyone. We always. Anyway, this Mac, which is Jammer B gave me before he left, is the original Mac. It has a cathode ray tube, and cathode ray tubes, because of the VBI, will have a line going across them because unless you can get the frame rate of the camera to be exactly the frame rate of the tube, and that's what Russell or somebody did. Maybe it was Burke. I think Burke did it.
It was Bert or Russell.
He figured out how to get the frame rate of my very fancy Sony FX30 camera to adapt so that we used to have a line going up and down on that. So he fixed it, which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's go back to AI.
I was just about to put up a picture from my memory lane, but go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Do it. I don't want to stop you.
I'm writing down all these terms so that I can educate myself later, guys.
I had never heard of CRT yamming before.
No, I
so
haven't either.
That was
Move
brand
on.
I was going to say, okay, good, because
brand new.
I still don't fully understand it.
You want to jump into the future? Microsoft has announced a new quantum chip, the Majorana 1 chip, that they say is going to transform quantum computing. Now, we've been talking a lot about quantum computing.
Wait, is this the thing that they're saying they've created a new form of matter?
Yeah, well, it's not a new
Kinda.
form because it's been around since matter began.
Well, yeah, that was going to be my point. You can't really create a new one.
Well, you
I guess
could, but this
fine.
it's not that kind of new frame of matter. It's a very subatomic particle that was discovered in 1937 by Ettore Majorana, an Italian who then disappeared mysteriously, by the way, at the age of 31. Anyway, this is a breakthrough in quantum computing. Is it gonna make suddenly quantum computing happening? No, but it is a way of getting more qubits onto a single chip.
And it's not electrical. Can you explain that to me? I heard something about that.
It's not using electrons. It's using
electrons. Okay.
It's using this Majorana particle that was hypothesized about in 1937. But I think CERN probably discovered, maybe not CERN. Anyway, some super particle accelerator discovered it. And Microsoft has created what they call the world's first topoconductor, a new type of material that can not only observe but can control Majorana particles to create more reliable qubits. I never thought in my life I'd say that sentence.
Well, Leo, if we want to go even further into the future, line 117.
Oh, boy.
Story I put up just before we went on.
Ooh.
Yes.
For the first time, according to Wired, a team at the University of Oxford has succeeded in getting two quantum processors to connect to each other and transmit the same information using particle entanglement.
Again, a sentence I never.
Yes. So they weren't actually
you
connected.
Explain that for someone
This is the
who
weird.
isn't
This is the
me that
weird
doesn't
thing about
understand.
quantum.
So, traditionally, in order to get from point A to point B, you have to cover every point in between,
Yes.
right? Well, it turns out quantum particles somehow manage to get from point A to point B without doing that.
No, it's not. It's not
Wormhole.
movement. It's not movement. It's two.
They're not moving.
No,
It's two
it's
particles
communication.
that are connected to each other.
They're
thus
connected
parallel.
without any connection.
Right.
So they
they're-
can
they're
transfer
entangled.
information faster than the speed
Yeah.
of light, in theory.
Right.
Right. Well, right. One will change a state, and the other one will change too. But they're
The
not
reason
connected.
I say travel is because one thinks of data traveling
Yes.
between those two.
But Benito's right to correct you
things.
because
They
that's an
don't-
old way to think.
Yeah.
That's the past.
Yeah. In the experiment, light particles remained in the same place, but because they were entangled, the computers could see the information and work in parallel, even though they were not next to each other. Well, they're next to each other, but not in the same spot. And there
So
is
it's
no
entangled
traveling.
qubits? Is that what it is?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Pretty much, it's entangled. Yeah, it's quantum entanglement.
Wild.
A pair of linked particles, even at a distance, can share the same state and therefore transmit the same information. If one changes state, the other instantly reflects it. Instantly, in our view, because it's faster than light, reflects it.
And that's what's interesting, because you're implying that there's some sort of communication. When we're communicating, we are traveling as electrons down a pipe, and so there's traveling involved, and that takes time. It's the speed of light, but it still takes time. This takes no time because it's simultaneous, and it's a puzzlement because how?
The greatest
is
minds have been
wired.
trying to figure out how to use this to make an Ansible.
Yeah.
Basically.
Ooh. An
Make a
Ansible
what?
is a sci-fi concept of
What
instant
does it mean?
instant travel.
Faster than light communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. This is not
I was
to
going
be
to say, it would be
confused.
communication, not travel.
Not travel. I'm sorry. I keep
This
bringing
is-
the word travel into it.
Yes,
There's no
this
travel.
is what Wired makes just for you, Leo. Wired said this. This is not to be confused with the conventional idea of teleportation, which involves a hypothetical immediate exchange of matter in space. In the experiment, the light particles remained in the same place, but entanglement allowed the computers to see each other's information, as you said. Yes.
So big breakthroughs in quantum computing in the last. Google also has a quantum chip, Willow, that solved a benchmark that they say solved it in 5 minutes. That said a conventional computer would have taken 10 quadrillion years to solve.
Do
We
have
live in
problems
interesting
that big?
times, I have to say.
We do.
Coming up on Intelligent Machines, we've got Ray Kurzweil, the guy who coined the term, wrote the book, The Age of Intelligent Machines. His new book is coming out soon. It is, frankly, he says, we'll merge with AI. I can't wait to talk to Ray Kurzweil. That'll be in a couple of weeks. We've also communicated with Stephen Wolfram, and he has a very good book on how AI works. He's been very good, actually, writing about AI. So Stephen Wolfram will be joining us as soon as we can work out a time that works for both of us. So we've got some good guests.
And some
coming
other
up.
people in the proverbial pipeline.
Smarter people than I who can explain this. Maybe we should get somebody on quantum computing on.
It would be good because that confuses the hell out of me.
Not
I'm
easy.
literally looking up quantum entanglement as defined in the Outer Wilds game, because I remember when I played that, I kind of understood it briefly. But
I asked one of the AIs, I think it was DeepSeek, to explain quantum entanglement to a dog. And it said something like, well, imagine there were 1 million tennis balls and you could catch them all at the same time. You know what? Maybe I'm not as smart as a dog. Anyway, let's see. What else? What else in the AI news?
There's lots of stuff. I enjoyed some information reporting in line 25.
Oh, I wanted to talk about that.
This is really well done, I think, by,
Okay.
who was it? Erin Wu.
Erin Wu. She's talking about Google. Google's AI efforts marred by turf disputes. And there's a picture of Demis Hassibis, Sir Demis Hassibis, who's the CEO of Google's DeepMind. Google, she writes, scored a rare hit with AI-powered Notebook LM, which, of course, we talked about. We had Richard Gingras. Was it Richard on?
No.
Was
We
it?
have Stephen Johnson on that.
Stephen Johnson, that's right.
Who will get back? 'Cause I think we're
Yeah,
time
let's
for
get him
refresh.
back.
Yeah, he's
People
on the
love
list.
it. That was the one that not only
it
summarizes
really is
your
true,
documents.
isn't it? I think everyone that I've talked to who's used Notebook LM says, this is cool. This is
It was
good.
one of the AI breakthroughs or AI products that made a lot of people say, oh, maybe there is something here.
Yeah.
Particularly the feature that would let you make a podcast out of your documents. After the product's release, Sundar Pichai praised the small, dedicated team that built Notebook LM, but the path to launch wasn't quite so smooth as he made it sound, writes Erin Wu in the information with an exclusive. Before Notebook LM launched, staffers working on it in the company's labs clashed with their counterparts at Workspace, which runs Gmail, Docs. According to 4 people with knowledge of the situation, she's got some sources. Workspace employees argued Notebook LM will conflict with our plans for existing apps like Google Docs. They even tried to shut it down. This was a big problem at Microsoft back in the day, where the Office team would say, no, you can't do that, or the Windows team, you can't do that. It's going to hurt our business. In the end, leaders of both teams stuck with Notebook LM, and it launched as a standalone website, although it is now a service and workspace.
But
So
I think if
everybody
Workspace had won and said, no, we're going to own this, they would have concatenated, however you say that, down to features that fit within Workspace.
Right.
Whereas Notebook LM was important on its own. And hiring Stephen Johnson, he's editorial director of Workspace. That, I'm sure that title exists nowhere else in Google. The team allowed it to exist to serve writers like Stephen.
Some of the tensions flow from how Google is structured. Demisa Sibis runs Google DeepMind. Thomas Kurian runs Google Cloud. Differing priorities between the two units have caused some tensions. Top managers at Google Cloud are debating how to improve their unit's relationship with DeepMind. Yeah, I mean, look, it's pretty clear that, by the way, Gemini 2.0 is pretty good, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, let me just see the AI Arena score, which has got, it's this is a people test and vote on which AIs are better, and it's kind of the most useful way of. Am I at the wrong spot? Maybe I'm at the wrong spot. It's the. Look, it's tracking my mouse. That's not the tracker I was thinking
the AI
of.
Arena, baby.
That's not the AI Arena I'm looking for.
I like it.
What did I do wrong? Where did I go wrong? Anyway, here we go. It ranks, it's actually really useful because it ranks the AIs, and it's changing constantly. But Gemini for a while was on top. I haven't checked it recently. I think I'm still on the wrong site. No, that's the wrong place. Anyway, I think Gemini's pretty good. I think DeepMind got a lot of people's attention. Did you guys watch the video I sent you?
I got a third of the way through it, Leo. It is very informative.
Yeah.
However, I've never had a better way to go to sleep. The affect is everything. Well, we took out your kidney, and then we're going to take out your heart.
Simple things like multiplication, addition.
I found it gripping.
Oh, it is, but it's exactly this voice for the entire time.
So
There's
this
no
is Andre
excitement.
Karpathy, who is one of the founders of OpenAI, and he's currently working in an AI education startup.
How long is it, Leo?
3.5 hours. But it's everything you need to know about how modern models are created, including this breakthrough in reinforcement learning. This is actually the relevant portion where they're talking about AlphaGo, which is the blue line here, using reinforcement learning, actually got better than the red line, supervised learning, which means they got better than the best humans. This is the breakthrough. See, the problem with the current common models using supervised learning never get better than a human because they're basically learning from what humans have done. They're remixing human intelligence. But this new thing that DeepSeek is doing is reinforcement learning, is actually potentially giving us, or AIs, the ability to exceed human capabilities. And it did it in Go very early on. Any event, highly recommended. It's a deep dive into LLMs like ChatGPT if you're interested. It's the first thing I found that really makes sense to me.
It's a primer, as we would say.
It's a primer. It's a very useful.
Yeah, it is good, but the voice.
Just a soft-spoken man, and
That's all. He's got a nice
voice.
No, it's fine. I'm not criticizing. It's not criticism. Yeah. It's just
we're never going to get him on now.
No. He's brilliant. He's explaining everything.
I've been trying to get him on. Yeah,
he's explaining. That's what I'm saying. He explains everything so calmly that it's comforting. And I was trying to watch it.
It reminds Jeff of what he normally watches to go to sleep, which is diners, drive-ins, and dives, as we learned last week.
What? Guy Fieri puts you to sleep?
He falls asleep to Guy Fieri regularly. And the thing that I've been thinking about since you said that, Jeff, this is just what goes on in my head as I'm going on my day, is one day I was walking around and I was like, that means Jeff's wife must fall asleep to Guy Fieri.
We fall asleep at different times.
What a woman. Wow.
Oh, Oh, so he's already asleep. So here's the LLM arena that I was looking for. Grok 3, which has just came out, we're going to talk about that in a second, is currently ranked 1. But look, Gemini Flash is number 2, Gemini 2.0 Pro, number 3, then ChatGPT 4.0, DeepSeek.
How is this being graded? What are the arena scores?
Yeah, it's just such a game.
You have one against another. Humans are doing it and then giving them the score. It makes it a little volatile. You see the number of votes. For some reason, the Gemini stuff was getting a lot of votes all of a sudden because it was very low, and then it suddenly went up. And so I think it's a little bit of gaming going on, but it is the closest thing. It's hard to judge. I use them all. And, I just find some are better at some things than others. I'm really happy with Perplexity, which gives me a good variety of models to choose
I was saying to Jason today, I think...
Huh?
We should have a Leo score for
I should have Leo Arena.
Would
no,
that
it's too much trouble.
rank all of us against one another?
Yeah, right. It's a hard thing to do.
Child, I know that.
All right, we're going to take a little break. You're watching The Age of Intelligent Machines has come. We are. This is the brand new, rebranded this week in Google. we call it, Intelligent Machines, focusing on, I think, the most exciting area in technology ever. More than the invention of the computer, the microprocessor, or even the internet. We're talking about AI. But not just AI, robots, the smart little widgets and gadgets you have all around your house that seem to have a mind of their own. Paris Martineau and Jeff Jarvis and I, and we're so glad you are here. Have you tried Grok 3 yet?
I have not.
So this is Elon Musk's moonshot. Spent a lot of money to build what I think most people consider the most powerful AI computer ever. Oh, absolutely.
You mean the hardware.
Hardware. He has built with Elon's money a data center in Memphis containing, ready for this, 200,000 NVIDIA GPUs to train Grok 3. That's Musk claimed. Now I don't know if Musk's making it up or not, but it was 10 times the computing power of the predecessor Grok 2. And this is, this comes back to that article we talked about some time ago, The Bitter Lesson. Remember this? You're not paying attention at all, are you? You're not listening.
What is the bitter lesson?
Rich Sutton, who's an AI professor in Canada, wrote this 6 years ago. In summary, the lesson is, it's not how the model is made, it's the amount of computing you can assign to it, that there's a direct correlation. He says, one thing that should be learned from the bitter lesson is the great power of general purpose methods that continue to scale with increased computation, even as the available computation becomes very great. In other words, the LLMs get better and better and better without modification if you throw more hardware at it. Two methods that seem to scale arbitrarily in this way are search and learning. He also says, by the way, this is an important insight. The second general point to be learned from the bitter lesson is the actual contents of minds, human minds, are tremendously, irredeemably complex. We should stop trying to find simple ways to think about the contents of minds.
Amen.
That's not what we're trying to build, is another mind. We want AI agents that can learn and discover like we can. And that's to me, this is the whole key. And the breakthrough that's starting to happen is getting machines to think of things that aren't just remixed human content. Does that make sense?
Well, they're not thinking, but
no, they're not thinking.
No, and don't. And that's, again, we talk about AGI and why it's a terrible term. No, but they could come up with new, novel ideas like new proteins or new ways to fold. They can inspire.
Google just started a new assistant for scientists. Not to do the work for them, but to be kind of on the side and saying, think about this too, think about that too. I think that, yes, it can do that. But I think this whole war, Leo, I think we're in a commodification. Ben Evans said of Grok, congratulations to Grok on spending a lot of money to be yet another company on the leaderboard for a commodity technology with no defensibility that we know of. And I think that this
Well,
this
that's
Me Tooing. Wait a second. This Me Tooing of these models as they stand. I don't think no one's leaping ahead. They're a little faster for a hell of a lot of money. And I'm more interested and more excited about A, applications like we had the first half of the show, but B, about working on different visions for how these things work. And I think that's where Jan LeCun, we talked about 2 weeks ago, talks about teaching them reality is the next step. There's next steps. But the fact that Musk is spending this fortune to say, oh, I'm a bazillion fraction of a second faster than that model, I'm more powerful, doesn't excite me.
It's not about speed.
Well, whatever the measurement is.
It's about, well, I'll tell you what the measurement is. It's about coming up with insights that are beyond the human.
Oh, you're getting near AGI. Sand time.
You don't think that's possible?
Sand.
I raise move 37. Here's a move and go that AlphaGo did after, by the way AlphaGo learned was the current hot thing in AI, which is reinforcement learning. It learned, and if you would watch the video, you would know this.
I won't finish it. I just need to have a little.
It learned by playing billions of games against itself. Instead of, in other words, ingesting all the existing human knowledge about the game, it taught itself.
It's a new way to learn. It's a new way to learn, yes.
Well, this is reinforcement learning. And by doing that, exceeded the human capability. And this is move 37, a move that the experts at the time, the master Go players said, well, that's a terrible move. Everybody knows that's a terrible move. Why did it do that? That's a mistake. And it turned out it was a huge insight, and it played a non-human move. And that's what we want AI to do, is come up with things that aren't remixes of existing content. That's what most AI is right now.
But I don't think that comes out of necessarily more power, more power.
Well, that's what the bitter lesson says. It does. It does. It also comes out of reinforcement learning.
DeepSeek. I think there's other methods and other ways. I think we're an American macho.
You got to watch this video. So DeepSeek is exactly the same as everything else, right up to the very end. You know, it does this, builds the models, does the tokenization, it does the fine tuning, but at the very end, they're doing this new step, which OpenAI immediately said, "Oh, we have that too. We knew about that." DeepSeek was the first public model to do it publicly, and more importantly, I think, do it openly, so that people could see what it was doing. It used reinforcement learning. It actually used a punishment and reward system. And by doing that, and that's also what AlphaGo did in effect, by doing that can go beyond what is essentially just rehashing existing human content. It's as if you had a textbook, a physics textbook. The first stage of fine tuning would be reading the content and adding it to your token base, right? Your LLM model. The second stage would be, all right, now here's the problems in the book, solve those. And that's what is it called? It's supervised fine tuning, I think, where but it never goes beyond what a human's already done, right? Because it's just learning the solutions to those problems. This most recent step, and if you get to the end of the 3.5-hour video, he talks about this. This is what DeepSeek did, is this reinforcement learning, and that's where the capability can go beyond what's in the book.
We're already there with things like protein folding. We're beyond what a human can do. It's raising the ceiling, raising the floor,
and that's what we need.
Raising the ceiling, and we can.
That's when it gets interesting.
Yeah, we're there. We're there for the many functions, just not this AGI BS.
Yeah. By the way, Karpathy said I was given early access to Grok 3. We should mention he's a former head of AI at Tesla. I was given early access to Grok 3 earlier today.
Some controversy around him, yes.
Yeah, making me think one of the first, I think one of the first few who could run a quick vibe check. He says, first, Grok 3 clearly has an around state-of-the-art thinking model and did great out of the box on my Settlers of Catan question. And he gives this question. Few models get this right reliably. The OpenAI thinking models, the ones you pay $200 a month for, get it too. But all of DeepSeek R1, Gemini 2, Flash, and Claude do not. However, Grok did not solve my emoji mystery question where I gave a smiling face with an attached message hidden inside Unicode variation selectors. Even when I give a strong hint on how to decode it in the form of Rust code, the most progress I've seen is from DeepSeek R1, which once partially decoded the message. So that's a negative. And then there's a question mark. It solved a few tic-tac-toe boards I gave it with a nice chain of thought. So I asked it to generate 3 tricky tic-tac-toe boards, which it failed on. But then so did O1 Pro.
Can I take you to line 112 and Gary Marcus's contrarian, as his usual, view of Grock?
Yeah, and I'm trying to get Gary on the show because I think he'd be great to have on. Anyway, just to finish before we move on.
Okay.
Karpathy's summary is, as far as a quick vibe check over 2 hours this morning, Grok 3 plus thinking feels somewhere around state-of-the-art territory of OpenAI's strongest models and slightly better than DeepSeek R1 and Gemini 2.0 Flash, which is quite incredible considering the team started from scratch a year ago. That's the other thing that all of this compute power gives them is, OpenAI's been working on this for how long? 5 years? In less than a year, they can get to state of the art.
Call me skeptical of claims, but we'll see about how they're doing it.
Yeah.
I think we know how Grok's doing it. It's not R1 is a little bit more of a question mark because it's kind of behind the Iron Curtain, or what do you call it?
They're both curtains.
Curtain.
I forget.
Anyway, all right. What line again?
112. If you go to Gary Marcus, who's a wonderful curmudgeon. But one who knows his stuff. He starts.
I DM'd him, and if you would as well, we should get him on the show.
Yeah, I've connected with him.
Okay.
At my Davos thing.
Yeah.
So he starts off. I don't know if we want to go into this or not, but Elon Musk praising how it criticizes the information, but we can skip that.
Before we do, though, let me just point out nobody has been able to reproduce this, and when I give Grok 3 the same question, it says the information is very reliable. It gives me a great summary of this. So this is, I think, made up.
Or it's fake, or it's him doing a joke.
It's fake.
Go on for that's what I'm saying. Go further down, where he gives its own tests to Grok. My favorite is draw a picture of 5 different basic geometric shapes and label each one.
Okay.
The triangle is a turgle. The circle is an isqueer. The square is a rectangle. The circle is a rectangle, and the hexagon is a pentacle.
Now, these other ones are what, OpenAI or?
No, it's all him. He's asking. It's four efforts.
Grok it's 4 different efforts. So in some cases,
Grok
it's
2.
correct.
A minority.
No, none of them are 100% correct.
No.
Huh?
And you go down, draw me a calendar of this month circling today's date. The calendars look quite nice, but the circling is blindfolded, pin the tail on the donkey. Right. And this is, AGI 8 around the corner, folks. I think we need voices like Gary here to be ballast.
All right. I'm going to bring back a voice from a little bit longer ago. I'm going to bring you you know who Richard Feynman is?
Mm-hmm.
Great physicist, long gone, by the way. He was a physicist at Caltech, I think. Brilliant guy, long gone, Nobel Prize winner, I believe.
Very, very, very TED talky.
Asked
he was in Oppenheimer.
What?
He was in Oppenheimer. Okay.
Oh, then I do know of him.
He was asked in 1985, do you ever think there will be a machine that will think like human beings and be more intelligent than human beings? This is I think this is about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to play it though, and I'll stop it before it's all the way through. You should go watch this.
As long as it's not 3.5 hours, Leo.
No, but listen, first of all, Feynman is very compelling. He's also
yes.
I actually saw
genius.
this when we first started talking about AI. I saw this, and this kind of formed the basis of my philosophy of AI.
Benito says,
whoa.
So let's listen. Let's listen to Feynman's answer.
First of all, they think like human beings, I would say no, and I'll explain in a minute why I say no. And second, that they be more intelligent than human beings is a question. Intelligence is to be defined. If you would ask me, are they better chess players than any human being possibly can be? Yes, I get you, someday.
Someday
They're better chess players than most human beings right now. One of the things, by the way, that we always do is we want the darn machine to be better than anybody, not just better than us. If we find a machine that can play chess better than us, it doesn't impress us much. We keep saying, and what happens when it comes up against the masters? We imagine that we human beings are equivalent to the masters in everything, right? The machine has to be better than a person in everything that the best person does at the best level, okay? But it's hard on the machine. But with regard to the question of whether to make it to think like a machine, my opinion is based on the following idea. That we try to make these things work as efficiently as we can with the materials that we have. Materials are different than nerves and so on. If we would like to make something that runs rapidly over the ground, and we could watch a cheetah running, we could try to make a machine that runs like a cheetah. But it's easier to make a machine with wheels, with fast wheels, or something that flies just above the ground in the air. When we make a bird, the airplanes don't fly like a bird. They fly, but they don't fly like a bird, okay? So they don't flap the wings exactly. They have in front another kind of a gadget that goes around, or the more modern airplane has a tube that you heat the air and squirt it out the back. A jet propulsion, a jet engine, has an internal rotating fans and so on, and it uses gasoline. It's different, right? So there's no question that the later machines are not going to think like people think in that sense. With regard to intelligence, I think it's exactly the same way. For example, they're not going to do arithmetic the same way as we do arithmetic, but they'll do it better. Let's take mathematics, very elementary mathematics, arithmetic. They do arithmetic better than anybody, much faster, and differently. But it's fundamentally the same because in the end, the numbers are equivalent, right? So that's a good example of it. We're never going to change how they do arithmetic to make it more like humans. That would be going backwards.
So you're looking for a machine that can circle a date in the calendar because you have that as a model of human intelligence.
I'm just saying.
But I could tell you right now, Emacs could make me a calendar with the right date on it 40 years ago, right when Richard Feynman was doing that talk in 1985. But that's a phony test. It's a paper tiger.
Listen, I constantly argue that two things. One, AGI is BS. Two, that to try to make something human is the wrong scale. That's a species hubris, and that's not the goal. And I certainly argue that the machine can do tons of things that we cannot do today. But I think that, I'm always going to fight this AGI BS. I'm going to fight it and the people who push AGI are the same ones who believe in the philosophies of TESCREAL. I'm doubly dubious of them as a result. Let's talk about it in terms of its actual capabilities, what we push it to do, what it can do, what we can't do. Fine. But don't be
the guy that says, "Oh, humans will never fly because we can't flap our wings fast enough." It's not AGI isn't, and you're right. Maybe some people who are talking about AGI are thinking in those terms, but that's not.
Yeah,
really
they want to
what's
replace
gonna
human
happen.
beings and all that, and that causes all kinds of fears. And that's the exact wrong way to talk about this. We're actually agreeing here because I'm arguing that that's limiting to talk about the machine. If we limit it to human capabilities, that's meaningless. Sorry, Paris, you were starting.
I was just saying, I agree with you. And I think also when we're talking about any new technology, but especially a technology that is in the peak of its hype cycle, it would behoove all of us to, keep our conversations grounded and firmly planted in reality, because ultimately that's more interesting and I think useful. And it will result in, more productive and interesting conversations.
Where do you want our feet, Paris? Firmly in the sand?
Ideally in the air, please.
More importantly, how do you pronounce cheetah?
That is the best part of it.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That video was quite interesting.
But you know what? It's Richard Feynman, so I'm going to guess that's the real way to pronounce cheetah.
Let's find out.
I don't know how to find that out.
Well, you just go to Google and say cheetah.
Oh, I don't do Google.
He only Perplexities now.
Let me see if Perplexity, if I say, the word cheetah is pronounced cheetah.
I'm doing
Chi rhymes with C, ta sounds like ta and table. So I don't know why he said Sheeta, but I'm guessing, knowing it was Feynman, that's the African pronunciation.
Well, wait. I'm doing the British now. Hold on a second here.
Cheetah.
No, cheetah. Still hard CH.
Well, what's the New Jersey pronunciation? Because that's where Feynman was from.
Run!
What the hell is that?
Get the hell out of here.
All right. I was smart. I did not buy the Humane pin. I admit, I have bought
I did really
many,
think about asking the Bee people about their thoughts on the Humane pin, but
I did too. Yeah, I forgot.
I bought many dumb AI devices. I'm wearing some right now. I even have those glasses with the rubber nose. But I did not buy a human AI pin because I saw the video and I thought that's not. And you know what?
You were right.
It's a $700 brick of e-waste, Jason Keebler writing at 404 Media. Only 10 months after it's released, the Humane AI pin, some would say killed by Marquez Brownlee, who said it was the worst product he's ever reviewed.
No, it killed itself.
It was killed before that. It already had dozens of reviews saying it was truly terrible.
Yeah.
The company sold its IP and software to Hewlett Packard and says, we're turning it off on the 28th, which is 9 days away. The server will be turned off. Nearly every function of the AI pin will stop working on February. Well,
it'll still check your battery.
Yeah, I want to show you the FAQ because it says some functions will continue,
what would those
including
be?
You could tell what the battery level is. But the Humane servers are gone. Center access will be retired. If you bought it in the last 90 days, you're going to get a refund. The rest of you, hey, congratulations. You now know. Will my AI pin work with another cellular provider after the shutdown? No.
Nope. It's not a real phone.
Can I port my number to another device? No. Can I use my AI pin for offline features? Yes. After February 28th, 2025, AI pin will still allow for offline features like battery level, but will not include any function that requires cloud connectivity like voice interactions, AI responses, and center access.
Couldn't even think of what's the second thing after battery level.
Yeah.
It was just battery level.
It was just battery level, etc., which I think is very funny.
I feel kind of bad for them. I mean,
why?
I saw somebody on Twitter, on one of the socials, said, "Yeah, well, don't dance on their grave." And somebody came back and said they danced on the grave of the iPhone, of the phone.
They thought the phone was gone.
How many millions of dollars?
Yeah,
they're fine.
Do you think they made money? Like
they certainly, the founders certainly got paid for their time.
Okay. What was the juicer thing?
Juicero.
Oh, yeah. Juicero.
Yeah, this is Juicero.
It was pretty apparent. And actually, the story of the company, it was that they pivoted. They really were just trying to come up with a projector screen. Yeah. And then AI became hot, and so they added AI on top of it, but it never.
So now they're gonna add things into meetings for HP.
You're watching Intelligent Machines. Jeff Jarvis, Paris Martineau. I'm Leo Laporte. We'll have more in a moment. Did you see the piece about these AI assistants at meetings and how terrible it is? Let me see if I can.
I don't know what piece you're talking about, but I will say it's truly the bane of my existence when I get in specifically like a company Zoom meeting and someone has their little Otter AI thing there. It's like, yes. We're not allowed to record our company meetings, guys.
Oh, you're not?
It's been a whole thing. They've had to make announcements. There was a whole
Bloomberg's weekend essay from Chris Stokel Walker. Please stop inviting AI note takers to meetings. Using artificial intelligence to summarize meetings raises questions about etiquette, privacy, and the purpose of the meeting in the first place. It sounds like the information
Some of them aren't just note takers. A wonderful former student of mine named Joe Amditas, who's at Montclair State, he plays with all the tools. So his will tell you who's speaking the most in the meeting.
I think that's
what
good.
The tone is in the meeting.
I think that's great.
All kinds of things added in. So we did it one time with the dean of the school. He was like all nervous, like, "Oh no, I'm talking too much."
Well, if I were a woman at meetings, I would definitely run that thing to say, "Look how many
or podcasts, right, Paris? We could use it here."
Certainly.
And again, he raises the issues, or actually one of the interview subjects raises the issues of hallucinations, which I think is not as much of a problem as it used to be, especially when you're working off a corpus of knowledge, like a transcript of a meeting.
Well, this goes to the piece, if I may.
No, I don't know. Especially with Depending on what transcription service you're using or what model.
Oh, there could be errors in
hallucinations can definitely,
transcription. Yeah.
I've noticed this with Mac Whisper, because you can pick from like dozens of different models, and there are some that it has like very specific hallucination bugs that are kind of.
Margaret Mitchell, the co-author of the famous Stochastic Parrots piece. I want to get her or Timnit Gebru on. Let's make a note of that. They would be great.
Margaret, I think, has a brand new book out, so that can be more reason to.
She's chief ethics scientist at Hugging Face. We asked the CTO of Hugging Face to join us, and he said he doesn't do. He only does in-person calls.
Only ones where you can hug his face.
I said, I think that means no, but I don't know. Unless you want to host him.
Say no.
I think it's a creative way to say no. Anyway, she says using an AI note taker is much more like recording a meeting than taking your own notes. Quote, some of the etiquette around recording applies. For instance, anyone using an AI note taker should let others in the meeting know. Well, of course, and give them the right to veto the AI's attendance. Zoom has it built in. You can push a button on a Zoom call. In fact, do we do that? Could I do that on this call? Yeah. AI companion. Request access for AI companions. Ask the host. I'm asking the host right now. Are you the host, Benito?
Yeah, it's me. It's asking me.
Do
Say
we need
yes.
an AI companion in here?
Well, we could at least, okay. So we just turned it on, so I'm not going to push the catch me up button. Oh, look at the questions you can ask. Was my name mentioned? Are there any action items? So it's really good for somebody who's sleeping through the meeting. What topics have been discussed?
It really is for someone who wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. So I'm going to leave that on, and at the end of the show, we can say, "Hey, did they mention me?" We'll just.
By the way, the book, just for the for the record, the third of three authors, the first one listed for the Stochastic Parrots paper is Emily Bender from University of Washington. She has a new book out called The AI Con: How to Fight Big Tech's Hype and Create the Future We Want.
So
I think she's not weighed down by sand, I would say, Paris?
Yeah, sandless.
I'm going to defend myself. Because the first guest, Zach Cass, was very was an accelerationist. And I think what we have to do and what we plan to do is get all points of view on this.
Yeah, he really was.
I will paint myself as an accelerationist. I know I am. I don't know. Paris, you're kind of in the middle.
You're
I would say, Jeff, are you a negative? Are you more like Emily Bender and
Zoomer,
it's all
bloomer,
a big hype?
Gloomer,
I would say
doomer?
my natural position towards all things is skepticism.
Yeah.
That is the nature of my job.
That's, you can't go wrong. Mm-hmm. You might have a miserable life, but you can't go wrong.
I definitely will.
Well, that's where the nihilism
but
comes
such
in.
is the curse I've been tasked with.
And Jeff, you're a little bit more positive, aren't you? I think
I'm positive, but I'm people think that I'm all because I wrote a book about Google and such that I'm all accelerations. I'm not. I mean,
Google
I'm the one who
certainly
argues
thinks you are when they try to pay you for things, right?
they don't pay me. But that's about my stupid industry. That's about newspaper publishers being jerks.
In this,
but no, I'm skeptical, and I think on today's show, I've been arguing more than you about how AGI is BS and how the boys are dangerous and how we have to be careful. So no, I'm no accelerationist.
And I'm damn the
optimist.
torpedoes, full speed ahead. I can't wait until our AI overlords are in charge.
I'm an optimist, but I think the UK, in its current discussions about regulation of AI, has been surprisingly, in my view, I didn't expect this at all. I think enlightened, where their starting point on training is that reading text online is a right of the machine to learn.
Good.
Whoa. I didn't expect that.
Kathy Gellis has argued for that, the right to read.
And after the Paris AI summit, I think what we've seen is a shift in the attitude in Europe is that, well, being the biggest regulator in the world hasn't gotten us very far.
Exactly.
And so I think they're more open to things, but they're still going to be by nature cautious.
Yeah. I think that's okay.
There's a mix. We need that mix.
I think there's a realization, though, when it comes to national authorities that if you don't do it, somebody else might. And so we are in a arms race of AI. And so to be too cautious or too safety focused might be a mistake from a national priority point of view. Mitchell goes on to say, talking about the AI assistants, as we seek to have more automation in traditionally human tasks, we cede our control, power, and privacy to AI systems and the companies that own them. That's a good point, I think.
Yeah.
A critical thing that AI note-taking lacks, which human note-takers have, are the nonverbal cues from the speakers. A sarcastic joke said in a meeting could become an action point when cranked through the compute power of an AI system. That's a kind of hallucination that probably
or it could go to HR.
Yeah, I do think it's worth noting that, again, having a record of stuff like this and having, in some cases, perhaps a sarcastic joke transcribed literally and taken literally and put in your meeting notes at work could be a problem for a lot of people.
The piece concludes, this is Chris Stokel-Walker talking, if workers trade in-person engagement for AI readbacks and colleagues curb their words and ideas for fear of being exposed by bots, what's left? If the humans step back, all that remains is a series of data points and more AI slop polluting our lives.
That's a little harsh. I think that's trying to find too much meaning in it. I think Paris's attitude is right. I don't want a record of this. This is company stuff. It's a little rude. Stop. It's more at that etiquette level than it is the, oh my God, it's ruining humanity level.
So I'd counter
you
that.
gotta stretch it to make an essay, baby.
Exactly. I'd
counter that with the piece from Ars Technica. Researchers have made a significant breakthrough in 2025 using AI to design a multi-step enzyme capable of breaking down certain plastics, potentially revolutionizing efforts to combat plastic pollution. I think that's interesting. This was published in Science, a significant advancement in AI-driven enzyme design. Now, to me, this is an example of going beyond what humans have been able to come up with to something new.
Yeah, it's that
I will
Google.
also note, though, you are reading Perplexity's summary of this article. You're not reading the actual article.
Yeah, I don't want to give Ars Technica too much. All right, I'll read the source. Actually, Ars Technica was just, to be honest and fair, Ars Technica was just summarizing this scientific piece from BioRxiv preprints, computational design of serine hydrolysis.
That's just a preprint server, yeah.
Yeah, it's a preprint server. So this is they were just
interesting.
But so I'm just continuing to synthesize the information and say, look, it looks like, maybe not, but it looks like an AI may have come up with a new enzyme that we otherwise didn't know about. That's a good use, yeah. Nikola, the electric autonomous truck company, has filed for bankruptcy. There's one of them.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, we could have a AI graveyard segment.
We could.
Just things that didn't make it.
You remember F Company?
It could be the sort of stuff that washes up on the beach.
Would you guys leave off? I'm going to get this guy on the show,
Yeah,
and then you can decide. No, it wasn't
and then we'll
solely.
play for him all of the, your little journey into being a radical.
I have, like a good AI, synthesized all of the different data points, including those that you and Jeff have proposed, and have come up with my theory of the future.
Is the Sandman a real person, Leo?
Yes, he is.
Okay. You sure?
Is he tall? I imagine him being tall. I imagine you looking down at the sand and there was only one set of footprints, and that's because he was carrying you. Is that what happened?
Wouldn't that be good? That was good. That was Jesus, I think, that did that, right? I walked with Jesus.
Was that who you were walking with?
No. Some guy.
AI Jesus.
Google Lens has, in Chrome for iOS, They didn't put that circle to search thing in, but this is kind of like that.
You could put the changelog in front of this one if you want.
It's the Google changelog. Google's more deeply integrating lens visual search into Chrome. Weirdly, though, for iOS, I guess because you already have it in Android with circle to search, so you don't really need that. So if you're using Chrome on your iPhone or iPad, you can now search screen with Google Lens as you're browsing the web or watching a video. You don't have to do a screenshot. There's a new shortcut in the 3-dot overflow menu. And it will then give you an AI result based on, there it is, search this screen based on what it's seeing. Google credits advanced AI models as allowing Lens to go much further and provide information on the contents of more novel or unique images. This is really the successor to search, right? Like image search?
I mean, image search, they've had image search for a while.
But this
for a long time.
Is this better? This is better, isn't it?
Well, because it does more than search. You can query about what.
Right.
It's a way of saying. I remember many years ago. First time I went to MIT Media Lab, and it was a whole big deal. One of their first demonstrations was a big screen and some shapes on it, and the instruction set of saying, "Put that there," so it understood the antecedent. What is that? What are you pointing to? That's what the circle really means. Is you can say, I'm talking about this, and then you can ask a question about it. That's just another UI. But it's more than search, I think.
YouTube has added AI to YouTube, right? There's now an AI button.
Does everybody got to have YouTube?
Everybody got to have
AI.
YouTube.
Yeah, I mean.
I think that's cool, I guess. I mean, it's Google. Let's see what Google, this is a little inception moment. Can I do AI on our show?
There's a button that shows you.
Interesting.
Yeah,
maybe because it's live, it can't.
Very meta.
It can't do that. Maybe. Yeah.
But go to last week's show. There's that.
I could do it
button.
there. Oh, okay. And okay, that's interesting.
Well, don't go to last week's show. Go to a few weeks ago shows.
Why shouldn't I go to last week's show, Jeff?
Because you don't want to do it.
What are you talking about?
Things you don't want to talk about.
What are you saying? Intelligent machines. Let's go to the last episode, which was 806. All right. Well, actually, we got episode 1, which is 805.
Yeah, that's
all right. So, so here it is now. Where's the AI? Is it on
maybe it's in the mobile app. I don't know. That video will show you where the button is.
I know. I should have watched the YouTube video. Look, there's an intelligent machine store. I didn't know that. You can shop the intelligent machine store.
That's fun.
Huh. All right.
Maybe it's down there.
Okay, so on my phone,
yeah,
I put up Karpathy's video.
Okay.
And now I can ask about the video. So what?
Oh, that's cool. So instead of watching a 3.5-hour video,
if you go to your phone, there's an ask button. You can do that.
Nice.
Please tell me what the point of this video is. Please tell me what the point of this video is. I'm not being a smart ass. It's really brilliant.
I like the loud voice you use to talk to the phone.
Machine! Hello, machine! I think this is a brilliant life hack. A ring that adds an extra finger to your hand so that any picture of you will appear to be AI generated.
That's great. Yeah, people have been saying you should wear that if you're going to do crimes.
If you're going to do crimes, wear the finger.
So we're going to get past that stupid story and back to this one. So the YouTube, I'll turn down the audio here. The YouTube comes back pretty quickly. It says the video is all about explaining large language LLMs like ChatGPT! Exclamation point. Why the exclamation point? I don't know. The video goes through the steps involved in building an LLM. This is the cool part. Here are some of the highlights of the video. 12 seconds in, the goal of the video. 34 seconds in, you'll learn about these models. 1 hour 7 in. Oh, wait, is that 1 minute? Yeah, I guess 1 minute. So it only lasted 2 minutes, 42 seconds, and it came up. Oh, well.
Well, it tried.
It explains common crawl, but I think if you went through this, that would be a very useful thing to come up with its own highlights.
I mean, again, my question is, are these hallucinations, though? I mean, I'd be curious if you have it go
Yeah,
through a whole
yeah.
3-hour video. There's probably going to be some things come up that they didn't actually say in there. Much
right,
like
there's two things.
No, there's not. No, watch the video. You'll understand what a hallucination is and why it's not going to happen there.
Well, there's also randomness. Are you going to get the same answer twice in a row? No.
No,
Can I go to the
stochastic.
story I want to go to on line 110?
Yeah.
I think you'll like it.
I think the Overton
No,
window
line
on safety and hallucinations has shifted. Which line?
109 on
But I
probabilism
mean, it's a
and
real
determinism.
problem. I
in AI.
had one of these services. I had Gemini summarize an article 2 weeks ago on this show. It provided a very succinct, well done summary with all the stuff I wanted in it. And then I went to go check any of the details it gave me, and like half of them were made up.
Oh, well, that's not
That's
good.
still the case. That's still
Yeah.
the case. Absolutely.
And that's Gemini, which I assume is powering this.
And if you do it the second time, you're going to get a different answer.
Yeah.
But the issue here is that we expect computers to be deterministic. That like a spreadsheet, you put
No, it's
data
stochastic.
in,
Yeah.
you put a question in, and then you get an answer. And what this argues, it's a really neat piece that then came that was deterministic to deterministic to deterministic. Then came deterministic to probabilistic to deterministic. Things like targeted ads. You put in a specific question. It did some stuff, and you don't really know what, and it came back with an answer. And it may be the right answer, maybe the wrong. There was no right or wrong answer. Then where we are now is probabilistic to probabilistic to probabilistic, where it's all kind of just close enough for jazz. And generative AI, and it's going to change every time. And what we want to get to is probabilistic. I can ask a vague question. To probabilistic, it can do its thinking in all kinds of ways, and no, it doesn't think. But to deterministic, where it's going to give me an answer that I can rely on. We are not there yet. And paired with this is a story from our friend Brett Taylor, who, line 110, who we ought to have on as well. Brett, I think, is now the chair of OpenAI, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that sounds
And
right.
he's CEO of Sierra, and he was at Salesforce and was at Meta. So what he's saying here is that artificial intelligence agents, yeah, they're not quite right. Yeah, they're going to get stuff wrong, but kind of lump it. Don't wait for them to be 100% because you're never going to get there. Accept that it is imperfect, he says. Rather than say, will AI do something wrong, say, when does it do something wrong? What are the operational mitigations that we put in place to deal with it? So what I hear Paris say is, that's not acceptable. That's too much effort and too much risk. And Leo is saying, yeah, accelerate. Let's see what it can do. It can do amazing things. So where's your tolerance for whether you call it hallucination, whether you call it randomness, whether you call it just being wrong?
You should be, I think it's fair to say, you should be able to trust a summary of a document to be accurate to the document. I'm very shocked that there was hallucination, to be honest with you. Because it's supposed to be working directly from the document.
Typed into Gemini, hey, this anecdote you gave me, where'd you get it from? And it said, oh, I made it up.
Yeah,
and then gave a little description of it. We talked about this in the show. And I think this is just my constant frustration with these tools is, I think they could be really useful. But if I am with some frequency encountering problems like this, then I can't really trust them to do tasks that I need them to do, which would be stuff like, hey, an article that I meant to read that I want to talk about in the show, can you give me a high-level summary of it because I've only read half of it and point out any interesting anecdotes? It can't do that, so I'm not going to use it for that. And then it's like, where does the buck stop? If I have to be, because I mean, then my next logical step in thinking about this goes to, well, if I want to use something like this for the purposes I want to use it, I have to go through and check everything it gives me before repeating that to other people. And that's just not particularly useful. I'll just read the article myself.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you. It's not been my experience that when working with an AI on documents that I've given the AI that it hallucinates on those documents. So that's troubling, to be sure. I haven't seen that, but
I still do.
You still see?
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I keep on saying this. I'll say it again. The other issue to me is the randomness. AI has built-in randomness, so you don't get the same answer twice. That alone is an issue when it comes to reliability and credibility.
And the thing that I think it makes this particularly difficult is the way that these tools work is they're they're trying to produce something that sounds right. They're trying to produce something that is right, but it doesn't know really the difference between sounds right and is right. And so in the case of that article, it gave me exactly what I was looking for. Anecdote about, I think it was that article we were talking about tech companies removing tampons and period products from men's restrooms and kind of a squabble. And it gave me an anecdote about
I remember this. You
fight
told us
between
about this.
a manager and an underling about, and they'd said a pithy comment about like, oh, well, if you need pads so much, bring your own. And I'm just like, what a strange little detail to make up and insert in it. But it's the sort of thing that if my natural inclination was not to check everything, I would have just assumed that was in the article.
And if you have to do that, then it's not that useful. I completely agree with you. I understand.
If you're using it for, like in the Google example for a scientist, if it's to your side and it says, have you thought of this? Have you tried that? Why don't you think of this? That's okay. Because it's up to the human then to decide what to pursue. And if it does inspire some new path, cool. They're going to do it in their scientific method and they'll have confidence. But if you use it to replace your task because it's better than us, nah.
Let me ask, did you just give it a URL or did you paste the article in and ask it for that?
I gave it a URL, but then I tried again with pasting the article.
And it wasn't better with pasting?
Got something. I mean, both times it gave me something that wasn't right.
Okay. I feel like that's a flaw in Gemini, to be honest with you.
It might be.
It shouldn't do that.
It might
obviously.
be paid versus free version, because if you're not seeing that, you're paying for all those services. I'm not sure if Paris is paying for those services.
Yeah, I'm not paying for them.
Yeah, I pay for everything.
So. But I mean, I think that's also kind of
that's kind of a problem too.
The average user
I want better. I want the
to,
best AI. Yeah.
Yeah, but the average person is going to, if they have any exposure to these tools, it's going to be for a while as a free user, and especially if kind of the end game for these products is a use case like yours, Leo, where you're not using search engines like Google. You're not going to read the Ars Technica write-up or the preprint. You're just trusting these services for all your information. Then we get to a kind of dangerous place if they're very adept at making things that are not quite right but sound very right, which is kind of their whole thing. I will say, though, and I've said this before on the show, my favorite use case for AI remains it. If I ever can't think of a synonym or a specific word, ChatGPT can find it every single time, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, because it has basically a giant thesaurus built in.
But
that's really
it's
what
a giant
it is.
thesaurus, but then also I can just describe it in the shoddiest way possible.
Right,
it's like this word, but the vibes are slightly more positive, and it'll get right there. It's great.
I'll have to look at the synopses that I'm getting and see if I can find issues. Maybe it's because I don't use Gemini. But I mean, I don't have this problem, I don't think, with Perplexity. But maybe I do, and I think
it could also be related to, I mean, if I'm thinking of that specific use case, I asked for, a summary, asked for, an overview of like any main points, arguments, or counter arguments, and then like an overview of any interesting anecdotes. And it gave me all of those.
So it was trying to help you. Yeah.
It was trying to provide everything I asked for.
And it doesn't know how to say sorry. No, there's nothing interesting.
Yeah. Or there's
what
no
would please you?
I mean, that would please me if they're just like, yeah, not there. Okay. I move on.
Let's take a break and get the picks of the week as we wrap things up on this issue of intelligent machines. We don't yet have a guest for next week, right, Benito? We
not yet. Still working on it.
We will fill that hole. We have some good, quite a few good
there's a long
leads.
list, yeah.
So yeah, so we will get.
Benito, if you need me to go to some of the people my name's on, let me know.
Okay, thanks.
I'd like to get Dave Marcus on.
Gary Marcus.
Great, Gary Marcus. That would be great.
And I think that who did I just mention? The author, co-author,
Margaret Mitchell.
No, Margaret. Well, that's one. Yes.
Anyway, we've got some ideas. We've got some ideas. And if you're an AI wizard, let us know. Email us. We'd love to hear from you.
I'll put her on the list.
Emily Bender. Yeah.
Oh, I put her on
Daniel
there.
Oberhaus, a former reporter at Vice and Wired, just has a book out on AI and AI-powered therapists. Could be a good
and we'll in just a moment check with Zoom to see what it's learned from this show. You're watching Intelligent Machines with Jeff Jarvis and Paris Martineau. All right, let's see. Let me see. Was my name mentioned? Let's see. It's analyzing now, and yes, Leo Laporte's name was mentioned multiple times throughout the meeting transcript. Leo Laporte appears to be one of the main participants in the discussion, contributing to various topics, including AI technology, recent developments, and personal views on AI enhancement. Are there any action items? Analyzing. This is Zoom's AI companion. Leo, researcher, reach out to Emily Bender to invite her as a guest. Investigate potential hallucinations in AI summaries from Perplexity. Benito, continue working on securing a guest for next week's show. Jeff, assist Benito in reaching out to potential guests if needed. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Were there any, let's see, catch me up? I don't want to, well, all right, too late. I clicked.
Were there any disagreements?
Oh, that's good. Let's see. Were there any disagreements? Analyzing. Yes, there were some disagreements during the meeting. Paris expressed skepticism about the reliability of AI-generated summaries.
Well, good.
Yep. Citing experiences with hallucinations in Gemini's outputs. Leo was surprised by this, as it hadn't been his experience with other AI tools. Jeff acknowledged seeing similar issues with AI-generated content. The group also had differing views on the pace of AI advancement, with Leo positioning himself as more of an accelerationist, while Paris maintained a more skeptical stance. See, this is great.
It's true.
How could you not love that? Of course, if you were in the
Love's
meeting,
a strong
you would know all
world.
this. I think the action items is the most useful. I think that's great. Let's get our picks of the week. I've got one. Can I start? I don't usually do a pick of the week. I want to give you guys all the time in the world for this. But it happens this is an old friend of ours, Gina Trapani, who was the original host of this show, has just posted something at ginatrapani.org called My Life in Weeks. This is apparently something people do now.
It's just the kind of beautiful thing that she would make.
Yeah. And she actually, the software is available. She talks about where she got the idea. She adapted the code from Buster Benson. So what it does, in fact, if you go to the Buster Benson, you enter in, you can do this, and she's actually doing a page. Let me see if I can find the, here it is. You can enter it in, there are pages where you can enter in your birth date, and it will make the chart, and then it's up to you to fill it in. So I was born, and then you see the first few years, nothing happened. Then there's kindergarten, the Tiny Tot Schoolhouse, where Miss Mary and Miss Ninny were my teachers. Reagan was inaugurated. Elementary school. First computer. What was Gina's first computer? He bought her an IBM PC Junior. That's many people's first computer. Anyway, it goes on and on. Saw my first web page, graduated college, elevators. First professional IT job at the elevator company where my dad and brothers worked. I didn't know Gina was an elevator engineer.
No.
Might have asked her about that. Here's her founding of Lifehacker. She started Lifehacker. I do believe we are in here. The first podcast, April 1st, 2009, launched this week in Google with Leo and Jeff. Later co-hosted All About Android with Jason. In beta with Kevin Purdy and the Postlight podcast Catalyst. Started Think Up. She talks about getting married, having her child. I think this is really cool.
Yeah, it is.
My Life in Weeks. And of course, the last entry is made this February 5th. And then there's a lot more weeks left that you could fill in. Do you think you would do this?
I'm not that organized.
I started and I thought
Bee to do it.
That would require a lot of effort on my part. Bee would be perfect for this, though.
Yeah. By
But
the
it
way,
would probably
on her
put too
100th
many personal things about your life in there.
on her 100th birthday, she has a to-do item: hug her partner and her daughter at the beach.
Aww.
That's a good goal for your 100th birthday.
Wow.
That's very Gina.
In the year 2075.
We miss you, Gina. Come
We
say
miss you,
hi.
Gina. Very cool. Paris, your pick of the week.
I've got two very different picks of the week. One is a delightful, long
yes.
read published by the New York Times that is a look into the Murdoch's succession drama that has got more twists and turns than the show Succession. And it does have a literal Succession, the TV show, side plot in it. It is such a fascinating, it honestly flies by. It's really, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. Would recommend it if you're looking for something to do. And then I will also recommend...
While you're on that, may I say
Okay.
for a second? The companion piece to this, the bookmark, which I just put in there, is The Atlantic. McKay Coppins interviews James Murdoch.
Ooh!
James
yeah.
is on the outs, right? Because Lachlan is going to run the empire.
Well, no.
I know there's a court.
Hey.
There's a court case going on.
Well,
but,
the New York Times piece, which is really wonderful. We should give credit to the reporters there because it was a great
The
reporting.
New York Times piece, they somehow, this is a sealed court case, they somehow got all of the documents
3,000
in discovery.
pages.
3,000 pages, which basically shows all of the dirty laundry discussions
Yes.
between all of the
It's-
Murdochs during this entire period.
I
And
read it
it's
straight
wild.
through.
Same. I thought I was
I
going
did
to
not
take
stop.
it and read it on the train. I sat there.
No.
Riveted.
Jim Rutenberg and Jonathan Mahler, credit to you. It's really good reporting. This is the best of the New York Times.
So is it not the case that Lachlan beat out James for the
Well,
empire?
Well, no, Lachlan and his daddy tried to
they
get
lost.
all of
Change the
they
trust.
tried to change the
Right.
trust to get out basically everyone, including James, that is not Lachlan. They lost.
I
So
didn't
far,
know
yeah.
they lost. I knew
Oh,
this
yes.
was ongoing
Oh,
and that they had
yes.
sealed it. We did not know they lost. The theory was, well, you can change the trust if everybody benefits from the change. And Murdoch's contention was, well, having Lachlan run Fox will be much better than having James runs Fox because he shares my political points of
One
view.
of the small things in this that I
I'm gonna read it.
particularly loved was all of the project and code names they use,
Yes.
which are just it's like the plan to kick his 3 children out of the trust that they are entitled to and give it to his other son is called Project Family Harmony.
If I may, let me give you this from the Atlantic story. Because this is just you got to read both of them. So in the deposition, Rupert's attorney asked James a series of withering questions. Have you ever done anything successful on your own? Why were you too busy to say happy birthday to your father when he turned
Oh,
90?
jeez. This is
Does it
straight out of
strike you-
Succession.
Does it strike you that in your account, everything that goes wrong is always somebody else's fault? At one point, the attorney referred to James and his sisters as white, privileged, multi-billionaire trust fund babies. James did his
And
best to
Lachlan's not?
Exactly. Well, Rupert is. James did his best to concentrate, but he couldn't help stealing glances at his father. Rupert sat slouched and silent throughout the deposition, staring inscrutably at his younger son. Every so often, though, he would pick up his phone and type. Finally, James realized why. Quote, he was texting the lawyer the questions to ask, James
Oh,
told me.
jeez.
How effing twisted is that? The two stories together
Oh,
are just-
that's what I'm doing after I.
Oh, yeah.
log off.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just have the AI analyze it and give
Oh,
me
you
a
don't want to.
summary?
You want every
No,
delicious
you
detail.
you want every word of this.
We love
you wanna
watching-
feel it. You want to see the text go by. They've got a great graphic with it. It's fun.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
loved watching Succession, and I knew that Succession was at least partly based on the murder.
Well, and it in turn,
Well-
as it plays a role here.
Hey,
Interesting.
You know, there's a big happening in Succession that I guess there's also Succession spoilers in this article.
Yes.
If you
Oh,
care
you're
about
kidding.
that guy. yeah, because a big happening in the last season of Succession inspires real world events and drama in
wow.
the
In the
lives of the
family.
Murdoch.
They all deny watching Succession, but it had an impact.
Apparently, they heard about it. That's what. Wow, I
My
can't
other
wait.
pick of the week is very different. It's a recipe from the New York Times for roasted chicken thighs with hot honey and lime, and it's changed my. I don't know. I've been eating it all week. It's really.
I
good. It
live.
could be a
I
good
live
companion.
on. I live on chicken thighs.
I don't know know how I'd been sleeping on chicken thighs now,
Oh,
but now
they're
I'm
the
going to be
best.
living on them. They're
Anything you do with a
phenomenal.
chicken thigh is going to be good.
Yes.
Hot
I'm going to eat
breast.
chicken thighs after this. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
Way better than breasts. Breasts
Anyways,
are
yeah,
dry.
breasts
this is
are
a
dry and
breast-
boring. They're white.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this
Gotta
super
love the
easy.
dark
You
meat.
could pop it in the little oven. It probably will be done before you finish reading the Murdoch article. So, enjoy.
All right, so it's my turn.
Oh, I'm making this. This sounds so good.
It's really good.
Okay. And very simple, by the way.
It's very simple, healthy, reasonable calories,
Thank you for that. I'm putting that in my recipe box.
Can you send it to me since I don't subscribe to the food?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what I do? I have a program called Paprika that will go to any web page and
scoop it up,
make it, and put it in my recipe box.
Is it? Oh, I see. Oh.
So here, I'll show you. Watch this. So I just copied the URL for the recipe, and I'm going into Paprika into the browser, paste in the URL, and then I say, yeah. No one wants me to log in. All right, well, I'll log in later. So, but I would download
Jeff,
that, and it makes a beautiful little recipe card out of it with a picture and everything. So,
I put your link in the Discord. Anybody can get the gift link in there. For the
you did a gift link? Aren't you
Thank you.
sweet?
Thank you.
Aren't you kind? Ooh, Jeff Jarvis, you have a pick for us?
Our game through time has been trying to get Leo to spend money on the show.
It's
And
not a
he's
hard.
done it
It's not a
very
difficult
well.
game, is
Hard.
it?
It's not hard. He didn't get the humane pin. He didn't get that. but
Did you
something he's
try to
very
get me
proud
to get
of.
that?
If you go to line
I
144,
thought you were
I
going to
am
buy it at some
prepared.
point.
No.
Prepared to translate the video on line 144.
Okay. So first,
Doesn't
I
even- yeah.
This is so complicated.
The sound starts low, but then you
Okay,
wanna
there's
come
the
up.
video. And do I have to do something with? It's in German.
So for over 50 years, the Thermomix has been the heartbeat of the kitchen. 8 millions of people love it every day to do their own cooking. 1971.
Looks like a blender. Looks like a blender with a base. Oh, now it's looking like the Thermomix.
2004.
Ooh, that one looks fun.
That's the one I have.
2014, the music comes up.
No, that's the one I have. Sorry.
2019.
Yeah. Is there a new one?
And this year, the heartbeat gets even
Oh
faster.
no! Please tell me no. Well, this is very German here. They need that. Schön.
Now, like never before.
Oh my God, the music.
This is the Interstellar.
Service like never before.
The only bad thing
Innovation
about Thermomix, besides
like
the fact
never
that it's
before.
$1,500, is there's a monthly subscription.
Intuitive like never before. Beeindrucked, I forget what that is. Like before. Inspiring as never before. There it is,
summer.
Leo.
I don't need a new one, but it does look
Organized like
better.
never
Look at that
before.
tablet.
Oh, it is. It is, Leo.
It
Here
is
we go.
better. Look, the peppers fly.
Experience like never before.
Look at the kiwis fly. Look at the raspberries
Raspberries,
fly.
the onions, not together.
So really, it's a blender with a
Quieter
heated pot
than
is all
ever
it is.
before.
Yeah. Ooh, you
Jeff,
can make coffee.
I just want to watch you translate
More
German
powerful
videos all day.
than ever before.
Einfach mehr so wie
nie zuvor.
Jawohl! 20 was und ist
Thermomix
eindeutig.
Vorwerk. Thermomix.
Oh, it does look
wie
prettier.
Zuvor.
Oh, it is a lot prettier.
Die
The
neue
TM7.
Thermomix TM7.
Yeah, TM7.
I knew you spoke German.
Thermomix von Vorwerk.
That's his thing, man.
I mean, makes sense given all that I know about it. What is a Thermomix?
Wow.
So it's Leo's little.
It's my. Stacy got me to get one.
Hey, you could get this new one and then give your old Thermomix to me.
That's what Stacy wanted.
That's a good idea.
She's gone now, so you get it.
That's a very good idea. I don't mind that. So
much is this
it's a
one?
food processor, kind of, but really what it is a blender with a heated thing, and then it's got inside it has a scale. So what it does, and then it's got this Android recipe tablet. So you pick a recipe, and then it says, okay, put 600 grams of potatoes in, and it tells you how many grams you've put in, and then do this and do that, and it heats it and cooks it. It makes a incredible risotto, incredible mashed potatoes, incredible
bread, right?
soup. Yeah, I've never made bread in it. I guess you could. I mean, yeah, I guess you could.
Interesting.
It's a ridiculous kitchen appliance, but I tell you what, most of my kitchen appliances have been relegated from the counters because Lisa likes kind of a clean lines. That one's on the counter because we use it a lot.
So I found this because Diet Online did a story. The headline is "The Redeemer: The new Thermomix steams all the world problems."
I love the drama.
I'm reading the Google translation for ease right now. Since life is often an unfortunate affair, mankind has decided to cook something nice for itself from time to time. Over the centuries, the machinery in the kitchens of this delightful planet has grown quite enthusiastically, even if people hardly have time to cook.
You can make yogurt with it. You can. I mean, there's a lot you can do with it. Here is an example of a poor housefrau, who is doing just all the work. And then she disappears. And you have the Thermomix. You don't need the housewife anymore. You've got yogurt making. Actually, I should try making yogurt with it. That's cool.
Yeah, that'd be good. We're on the food. I couldn't listen to this because I discovered it while we were on the show. But the next line, 145, it looks funny. I read it. The new Australian lamb commercials are renowned for being funny.
Here we go.
So
Australian lamb.
You want to start back at the beginning, of course.
This is for 2025.
Is the sound on?
No, 9. All right, now everybody get ready. We're going to do this.
What do you reckon?
Don't know.
It's a dog.
Sure.
Arguably.
God, that's the funniest thing I've seen all week.
The comments section.
Who would do that to a dog?
That looks like a dog I drew in grade 2.
Gina Smith, this is literally you.
It's literally me.
Everyone calm down. It's fake.
So it's like if
the whole
Insta were real life.
Is the comment section.
This film was made with
100% real.
This comment section is getting toxic.
Do you think this is happening everywhere?
Madness! We're killing the environment.
We're saving the environment.
They only work when there's enough wind.
They're talking about
I made
windmills now.
$5,000 in a week working from home with this one simple trick.
I love renewable.
CO2 is perhaps the near lowest in Earth's history.
You're right. Next thing you'll tell me the Earth is flat.
See? Flat Earth.
Now they're in a spaceship.
That could be AI.
No, that's AI.
It's achievable naturally. I have a body similar to that.
Looking good, Cosy.
I made $5,000 in a week.
That's the way you make a perfect couple.
Milk before tea? This is a crime.
Same as with cereals. Milk first.
She only has a handful of commenters, by the way.
It's not real.
Yeah. Oh, we're fighting over tea now.
Could be worse.
How?
She broke dancing.
That's the famous Australian breakdancer.
Tell you this would be a lethal dose.
Ooh, another keyboard warrior.
Gina Smith, literally not you.
So not me.
It's fake.
Why is everyone hating?
It's fake.
She sucks. You suck.
Booked and reported.
Booked and reported.
Booked and reported.
World tour, please.
Like everyone relax. It's not real.
Democracy.
What's next?
What does this have to do with lamb?
You'll get there.
Yeah,
You'll
what
get there.
does this? How long of an ad is this?
Would have been whatever.
It's one of those ones that's so special they do one a year.
Something that unites us.
There's got to be something that unites us. You know where this is coming.
Yeah, he's got a little lamb on the babby.
Oh, that does look pretty good.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Lamb chop on
Holding
the
up
babby.
as if a torch to civilization. Here comes one honest man with a lamb chop. A bite. Yes! Thumbs up.
Come on, everyone. Get out of the comments and into the cutlets.
Oh, that actually was worth it. That one line did.
See it?
Into the cutlets.
I am such a ditzy Debbie. I met a big old gritty guy. Now this is real.
Gina Smith, it's literally you.
Oh my God, it's me, Gina Smith. Ah!
Wait, why is everyone being so nice?
I think everyone's a lot nicer in real life than we are online.
I guess the anonymousness of the internet promotes disagreements, and the platforms that we
Yeah, we get it.
Just ate some lamb.
That's the best part.
Isn't that great?
That's the best part.
I hope people post nice comments about this ad.
And he looks straight at you. Straight at you. He's still looking at me. Stop looking at me. I'm not going to post it. Stop. I told you. Stop. No. Don't. No. Go away. I thank you for joining us for this bizarre edition of Intelligent Machines. Special thanks to our guests from Bee.Computer. Great fun having Maria Lourdes de Lourdes Zoyo and Ethan. Oh God, I'm never going to get their names.
It's on the
right.
rundown. It's on the
Sutton.
rundown. It's right there.
Sutton, right? Sutton. He likes Sutton. Sutton. Ethan Sutton and Maria de Lourdes Zoyo. From Bee.Computer. Really fun having them on. I can't wait to hear what the Bee has to say about it. Thanks to all of you for watching. A special thanks, of course, to Paris Martineau, weekend reporter for theinformation.com. You must subscribe. You'll find her on Signal if you've got a tip, Martineau.01. Thank you. Now you can go off and enjoy your biscuit.
I've already consumed it.
Oh.
I will be enjoying my chicken thighs, though.
Did you make some more? They keep very well in the fridge,
made some.
right?
I made some last night. Been nibbling all day. It's a delight.
Thanks to Jeff Jarvis, Emeritus Professor of Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Now at Montclair State University and SUNY
Stony Brook, where we have a new president as of today, who is really interesting.
Oh, good.
She's now the Dean of Engineering at Princeton, but she's in the Marconi Hall of Fame for the work she's done on Wi-Fi and telecommunication.
And she's now the president of SUNY Stony
Brook. Yes, as of today.
How interesting. We should get her on the show. Thank you, Jeff.
That's a way for me to suck up. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Oh, she's great. She's great. Jeff is the author of The Web We Weave, Gutenberg Parenthesis, and many other fine volumes available all at jeffjarvis.com. But they're real books. It's not like self-published. He actually has a publisher, and you get it from the publisher. It just he has links to it.
And Gutenberg Parenthesis is now out in paperback, and I just found out that I'm going to be able to do an audiobook version of the magazine.
Oh, good. That'll be really good.
That'll be really good because a lot of that is like first
voice.
person.
Yeah, it's about your story. Yeah.
Excellent. That's good. I'm happy.
Thank you all for joining us. We do Intelligent Machines Wednesday afternoon, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 or 2200 UTC. You can watch live if you want on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, X.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Kick. But you don't need to watch live. The live version will have all of the unexpurgated AI insights from my phone. The edited version will all be blurred out. Apparently, I revealed far too much. I didn't realize at the time. So that's why you might want to watch live. Of course, it's easy to watch after the fact. We have copies of the show at our website, twit.tv/IM. There is an Intelligent Machines channel on YouTube, so you can share clips if you wish. And of course, the best way to listen or watch is to get the audio or the video in your favorite podcast player. Subscribe, and you'll get it automatically, just in time for Thursday morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Jeff. Have a great week. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines.
I'm not a human being, not into this animal scene. I'm an intelligent machine.